Immortal Cultivation begins with time management. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyright or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 701 Shilleligh's suspicion. The root of the elixir finally grew. Luoyan looked inside for a moment and could see that the meridians in the elixir were clearly visible, like a dense flower bud that had not yet opened. To put it in a strange way, it was as big like a woman's uterus. From the point of view of nurturing the elixir in the nascent soul stage, it seemed not wrong. It's just that women are pregnant with their own children, while the elixir of the cultivator is a kind of higher level, energy-based self. Just like a larva pupating, the elixir is its own pupa. When the elixir stage is cultivated to the great perfection, it is called metamorphosis to become an immortal, so in this way, it is very similar to insects. The problem now is that after the root of the elixir has grown, the golden elixir still has not changed. From the root-seeking stage to the subtle stage, according to the records in the classics, it is necessary to make a thunderous sound in the elixir field and the golden elixir will vibrate continuously, but there is nothing unusual about the first-grade golden elixir in Luoyan's body at this time. And the root of the elixir has indeed reached the limit of growth and has reached the state of great perfection. In other words, it has encountered a bottleneck again. For ordinary cultivators, the most fearful thing is to encounter a bottleneck in cultivation. The reason is that everyone's bottleneck is different, so there is no fixed way to solve it. The means used by others to solve the bottleneck are probably useless to you, so it is normal for many people to waste decades or even hundreds of years before the bottleneck. But Luoyan is not afraid of bottlenecks, because he knows that cultivation is like sailing against the current. If you don't move forward, you will retreat. He has the determination and perseverance to overcome any bottleneck. My wife. Luoyan found Shilleligh, who was still teaching Shiking, and smiled. My husband has encountered a bottleneck in cultivation again, and help your husband calculate where the opportunity to break through the bottleneck is. Shilleligh ignored him, but said to Shiking, "You see, my husband still has advantages, at least in terms of the speed of cultivation. I'm afraid no one in King Temple can catch up with him." Luoyan. Wait, what were you discussing just now? Although he was quite skeptical, in order not to reveal his flaws, he quickly said modestly, "My lady, please don't praise me so much. There are also many talented monks in King Temple. I dare not claim to be the best." Yes. Shilleligh replied perfunctorily, and then said a few words to Shiking before following Luoyan out of the room. "Don't you want to explain it?" she asked calmly. "What to explain?" Luoyan pretended to be stupid. "Is it about the improvement of cultivation?" Shilleligh asked calmly. "How long have you stayed in the root-seeking stage?" Looking at the Jade Purity Temple, I have never heard of anyone who can break through the two stages of the soul preservation and root-seeking in 3 to 5 years and directly reach the gate of the subtle stage. I don't mean to pry into my husband's privacy. It's just that between husband and wife, there are some things that need to be clarified. If my husband really used some methods to force the growth of seedlings and harm the origin, as a wife, I am not aware of it, do not care, and do not teach. It is a loss of virtue. Luoyan. How should I put it? He pretended to be embarrassed and hesitated, but in fact he was carefully paying attention to Shilleligh's expression. As the saying goes, marry a chicken, follow that chicken. Marry a dog, follow that dog. Since Shilleligh has become a Taoist partner with him, with her personality, she will definitely not do anything bad to him. Although she doubted the rapid improvement of her cultivation, she could never associate it with opening more trumpets based on this alone. I just need to fool around and show that it is not convenient to talk more. I think with Madame Lily's intelligence, she will definitely stop asking. Actually, I don't know why either. Luoyan spread his hands and said frankly, "It feels like an epiphany. One day, I woke up from meditation and suddenly reached the great perfection of the root-seeking stage." Shilleligh stared at him silently. After a long time, she slowly lowered her eyelids and said, "I know. But my husband, although our Tiangong workshop lacks high-level cultivators, it is not to the point where we need to break through our cultivation at all costs. If my husband has any difficulties in his heart, you can always come to me to communicate, okay?" Luoyan was immediately moved by what he said. He knew that Shilleligh thought that in order to make up for the vacancy of the elder Shidin, he used some tricky method to start to increase his cultivation rapidly, so he said such caring words. He then took Shilleligh's delicate body into his arms, gently kneaded her shoulders, and comforted her. "Don't worry, my lady. I didn't use any evil method to damage my essence. I just, my cultivation progressed a little faster. I don't know what happened. She only hummed and stayed in his arms for a while, then took out 6 copper coins and threw them into the air. After repeating this several times, she finally put the copper coins away and fell into a thoughtful expression. Luoyang didn't dare to disturb her, but let her think alone. After a while, she finally said, "This hexagram is strange." "How strange?" Luoyang asked hurriedly. "My husband should know that the so-called bottleneck of cultivation is actually the pursuit of a transformation of the state of mind," Shilui said solemnly. "Since it is a change of state of mind, something that can touch the state of mind must happen. From the hexagram, my husband should face some extremely important life choices, which is the opportunity for my husband to break through to the subtle realm. But I am very curious, my husband is living such a comfortable life now, not worrying about the expenses of cultivation, and not being entangled by trivial matters. How can he face a life choice?" Luoyang was also a little dumbfounded after hearing this. What important life choice? It can't be that Arjun is going to leave me, right? Ha 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 ha. And I don't know why he showed a puzzled expression. Does anyone say when this major life decision will come? I don't know. She literally shook her head. The hexagramless time is too confusing, especially in terms of time. I really don't know when this opportunity will come, and my husband, just wait patiently. Luoyang understood, and then he hugged Shiluli and kneaded her, saying some sweet words. After thinking that he had coaxed her, he quietly left. Shiluli looked at her husband's back, and her eyes gradually became clear. First, he suddenly formed a pill, and then he was suddenly promoted, and if it was just once or twice, it could be explained by an adventure, but what about this continuous breakthrough in realm? Unless there is an elder who is secretly cultivating her husband, and he is not stingy with all kinds of natural materials and treasures, this can be barely explained. No, if the other party is a Wongsang immortal, then the training must be all round. In addition to the pouring of resources in cultivation, there must be support in terms of the status of the sect, otherwise it is just training thugs, which is meaningless. This elder could not possibly be the Wongsang immortal. Then who was he? And she threw out 6 coins again, then caught them and looked at the front and back. This repeated several times, and the hexagrams became more and more confusing, until it was almost impossible to read. Was the secret blocked by someone? Shilui closed her eyes silently, her expression as calm as a well, and no one knew what she was thinking. Chapter 702. Too many archives make it easy to get confused. Although she had doubts in her heart, Shilui did not take it to heart. Even if the husband was hiding a secret, was he not her husband? She just continued to do what she should do, handling the chores of Tiangong workshop, helping Luoyang to look ahead and behind, and running around. In her spare time, she would occasionally feel like calculating her husband's origins with a copper coin. Well, she still cared a little after all. Luoyang didn't know how many crises Arjun had blocked for her. Since she couldn't break through the bottleneck of cultivation, she just studied the way of formation every day and studied how to fight people with formation. Modern formations are complex systems, while ancient formations are simple and integrated. Those who enter the town need to take modern formations as the starting point for easy access. Ancient formations are the end point for thorough understanding. Although Elder Shiding had never told him, the scriptures in his study clearly recorded that from now to ancient times, it was the formation learning content of the Jinnan realm. After reaching the Yunning realm, he could focus on ancient formations. Apart from him, the rest of the Tiangong Fan people were naturally not idle. Although the third sister Liang Hua's cultivation progress was not fast, she had recently made a breakthrough in the art of seal making, and the magic weapon she refined was evaluated by the internal evaluation of Yu King Temple. His wife Shilili's sword making is still making continuous progress. Although she is still not as good as the eldest brother Lamushu, after all, there is a gap in the realm of cultivation. She has done quite well in the vertical market segment, highly praised by the independent cultivators and small sects. The younger sister Shiking is still in the entry stage, so let's not talk about it for now. Luoyang recently estimated that he seemed to have some shortcomings in the field of sound-related magic weapons, and considered whether to recruit another disciple in this area to train. Penglai King Temple is indeed a strong economic sect. Although it was besieged and looted by the demon cult, it has now made up for all the losses. It's just that the atmosphere in the sect has suddenly become tense recently. Everyone is a little scared, thinking that the demon cult is going to make another move. Probably only Luoyang knew that this was the news from the Golden Palace secret realm. Think about it carefully. Qiu Chang's time won the Golden Palace. Cunning gave him a chance to get treasures from the treasure dividing rock. Ling Yunpo won the Golden Palace, and Shushan sent senior sister into it. This Shushan, I don't want to stay there for even a minute. Knowing that the attitude of the superiors is so important, Luo Yan has been reporting to the Xuandu Master and Wang Xiang Immortal every day recently, and he is very clever in reporting good news but not bad news. Today, there is another breakthrough in the progress of the formation repair, and tomorrow, the formation innovation plan has achieved great success, although the two also noticed that he was trying to please. Who can resist the respect from the heart of a second-grade Jintan Xinren? Immediately, their good impression of him also increased greatly. In this way, the day to go to the Golden Palace finally arrived. The rules for selecting people in Penglai are also very simple, and compared with Kunlun and Shushan, there are not so many factors of power struggle. Jinnun Xinren Luo Yan, who was a second-grade Jindan and the winner of the last Baiyuzheng Lord, must occupy a position. Xi Luli, the real person of Dongyu, is also a second-grade Jindan, and is also the recipient of the Lord of Baiyuzheng. He is also quite proficient in calculations, so he must occupy a position. 2 second-grade Jindan. When has my Penglai ever hit such a prosperous scene with so many talents? Although Elder Shiding's own talent for cultivation is average, his ability to train disciples is outstanding. It's a pity that he died too early, otherwise there were 2 second-grade Jindan disciples here, and the head of Xuandu thought to himself that he would have to hand over some power to him. In short, the 2 second-grade Jindan real people without a master are destined not to become tools for internal factions to fight for power, and the weak state of Tiangong is destined to make the 2 people ask for help from the high level of the sect. Under such circumstances, the head of Xuandu did not fear the 2 people at all, so he found Jinlan, the most powerful Jindan real person in Yu King Temple, and told her that she might not get a position in this trip to Anjin, but she must ensure that Jinnun and Dongyu are safe. It's strange to say that the cultivators of Kunlun Shushan often fight for power, status and prestige, but most of the cultivators of Penglai are not as enthusiastic about this. If it weren't for the Xuandu headmaster's forced assignment, Jinlan Xinren would not even plan to go. There are still a few furnaces of elixirs to be refined at home. Before leaving, there was another round of lectures from the headmaster. Even if Luo Yan wanted to curry favor, he couldn't stand listening to 3 rounds of lectures in a row. He could only keep watching and smiling throughout the whole process, and began to play music slowly in his mind. When the lecture was finally over, he immediately acted inspired and was full of energy, so that Chilili next to him couldn't bear it and quietly pulled him aside. The 3 followed the Xuandu headmaster to Shushan, and then took the treasure ship to Shuar Peak together. On the way, Zhu Yingyan really had a conflict with Mzisu again. Luo Yan was already calm at this time, and said lazily, "Luli, go over and persuade them, otherwise it's not good to keep quarreling like this." "Yeah." Shiluli nodded in response, but was secretly surprised. Doesn't this husband care about everything all day long? Why did he suddenly start to care about the conflict between the 2 real people, Qindying and Jing Xiao? Although it was strange, she still went over as she was told and persuaded Nzisu with her words. So the fight finally subsided and everyone breathed a sigh of relief. Shiluli returned gracefully to Luo Yan's side and suddenly asked, "Husband, what do you think of the real person Jing Xiao?" "What do you mean?" Luo Yan immediately became alert. "It's just my first impression of her," Shiluli asked easily. Hearing her tone seem to be a casual question, Luo Yan said carefully, "Well, I heard that she is the only sword immortal who has formed a second-grade golden elixir in the current golden elixir realm in Shushan. I think she should be very powerful." "Powerful?" Shiluli thought. "I originally thought she was arrogant and unkind, but after persuading her just now, I realized that she is actually too upright and not smooth enough." Too upright, this word is used on senior sister Anne, and Luo Yan is a little powerless to complain. "Really?" He pretended to be stupid and laughed. "What about true person Qingying?" Shiluli asked curiously again, the one who was fighting with her. "True person Qingying," Luo Yan said slowly, "she is the one who explored the ruins of Donghua sect with you last time." "Yes." Shiluli said leisurely, "What do you think of true person Qingying?" "Well, I heard that she was born in the Zhu family of Tianan, and inherited the true blood of the Phoenix. She has the nickname of Phoenix Fairy in Kunlun." Luo Yan carefully considered the words and said carefully, "I think she is not weaker than true person Jing Xiao." "Why are you so cautious?" Shiluli smiled and covered her mouth. "I just asked casually, not jealous. Ahem, it's not convenient for me to comment too much on female cultivators from other sects." Luo Yan felt more and more uneasy, but he couldn't tell what was wrong, so he could only smile. Seeing that he was trying to please her, she really had more doubts in her heart. Apart from other things, my husband had fought with the immortal Jing Xiao in the Biushing competition. Why did he seem to not know him now? I guess he was pretending. But why was he pretending? Chapter 703. Shilili prepares to kill. Luo Yan had never thought so much about Shilili's thoughts. What bothered him most now was not these love affairs and small quarrels, but the major events concerning his own path. That is, the bottleneck of cultivation in the great perfection of the seeking root stage. Looking back on the past, although the cultivation path was not completely smooth, it could be said to be smooth sailing. Compared with ordinary cultivators, it was even faster, so it would not be an exaggeration to say that it was soaring into the sky, but only Luo Yan knew how tight his time was. Now there are about 800 years left before the destruction of the world. 800 years, if given to other cultivators, is almost the rhythm from entry to infant formation, or full halfway. But for Luo Yan, he must gain the trust of the immortals as soon as possible, and then seek the fragments of the heaven-fixing stone from them, otherwise the world will fall into destruction. In order to save this world, he can only encourage himself and run into the away stage with big strides. Jin, help me. What can I do about your bottleneck in cultivation? Kunlun Mirror said speechlessly, if I can solve your bottleneck, I will directly give you a crown and make you an immortal, okay? If I can, that would be great. Luo Yan said nonchalantly, why not? Kunlun Mirror was speechless after hearing what he said, thinking that he still underestimated this man's face. I shouldn't have been ironic just now. The third time they came to the top of Shiwa Peak, everyone was helpless in front of the snowy peak, and soon Shilili was called by the head of Yujing to do divination. Luo Yan was bored and slacking off nearby. Seeing this group of people bumping around like headless flies, he pretended to choose a direction at random with some impatience, and dug out a corner of the ruins with the acquired 5 elements divine light. The subsequent repetitive things will not be repeated. Anyway, he and Shilili set foot on the road to the sky. Seeing that the higher he climbed, the steeper light path became, and remembering the reactions of Zhu Yingyan and Zesu, Luo Yan acted resolutely and said solemnly, my lady. If I can't hold on later, you can step on my shoulders and use my body to jump up. No need. Shilili hurriedly comforted him, I've seen that there is no leverage on this light path, and no magic or magic weapon is allowed. I think that after we fall naturally, we can just enter the Golden Palace secret realm. Otherwise, it means that this secret realm has never been intended for people to enter from the beginning, which is too unreasonable. This, Luo Yan was stunned for a long time before saying, what if we just couldn't find a way to get in, so we were left behind, what should we do? Nothing to do. Shilili replied, then it's just fate. When we go back, the headmaster may not blame you and me for this. Luo Yan. This is not fun. Mishi. When the light path tilted to 90 degrees, the two finally couldn't hold on and fell down. Luo Yan controlled the 5 elements of divine light, turned the soil into water, and dug a pond in the open space below, so that the two fell into the water. Is my wife okay? Luo Yan stood firm and went to support Shilili. It's okay. Shilili helped him stand firm, and suddenly heard a voice from the secret realm. The number of people in the Golden Palace is greater than 12. After the requirements are met, the 12 palace masters will be decided. Shilili frowned slightly, revealing a thoughtful look. Luo Yan saw her thoughtful look and was secretly shocked. Not good. Although he didn't know why, he always felt that with Shilili's intelligence and her magical ability to calculate, she might be able to pass the Golden Palace easily. Husband, shall we go? Shilili smiled. It seems that the means of obtaining the Golden Palace this time are different from the last time. How do you know it's different from the last time? Luo Yan wanted to ask, but he barely held back. The two wandered around in the secret realm, and soon met the maid sent by the True Lord again, and then were invited to a small pavilion where the True Lord lived. This True Lord was a handsome man or woman with a face like a crown of jade. At least the gender could not be determined from the appearance and voice, or it could be said that no matter whether it was a man or a woman, after the face was beautiful to a certain extreme, there were too many things in common. This time, Luo Yan and the other two came the earliest, so the True Lord just said a few words to them, asking them to sit on the bench in the pavilion and wait until there were 6 people before starting. The two naturally did as they were told. Not long after, Tianqi's Henren from Shushan and 3 other unknown demon monks arrived here. One was a cultivator of the heavenly demon do, one was a foreign monk of the Shirodo, and the other looked like a cultivator of the Eastern Emperor do. Since there are already 6 people, let's start the trial. The True Lord smiled faintly and said gently, I'm the True Lord's Thonghao. My test is also very simple. Starting from my right-hand side, everyone can draw anyone present and ask a question. The other party can choose to answer honestly or lie, but cannot refuse to answer. Otherwise, they will be eliminated early. As long as there is any untrue content in the answer, it will be considered a lie. After the answer is given, the questioner will judge whether the person is telling the truth or a lie, and give an answer on the spot. If the questioner's judgment is correct, then the person being asked will be considered a failure and will not participate in subsequent questions or answers, and can leave early. Of course, if the questioner makes a wrong judgment, he will not be punished and can give the right to ask questions to the next True Lord. As soon as these words came out, everyone looked at each other. Luo Yan certainly knew why they were surprised, but he didn't expect that the test in the Golden Secret Realm would be this type of witch duel. However, I have participated in 3 rounds of tests, and you are new here. How could you be my opponent? Luo Yan was thinking complacently when he suddenly heard Lady Luli beside him speaking to him in secret voice transmission. This competition is interesting. It tests judgment and psychological warfare. We are sitting on the right side of this master, so we need to make the best use of our first mover advantage and eliminate as many people as possible in the first round. Of course. Luo Yan quickly followed suit, and then suddenly realized. Wait, Lady is here for the first time too, right? How come she seems to be very familiar with it? Then I'll ask first. She Luli took out a copper coin from her sleeve, turned it over and over in her hand, and asked the heavenly demon Taoist monk sitting on Luo Yan's right, excuse me, fellow Taoist. Among all the fighting habits composed of your usual skills, magic weapons, flying swords, what is your biggest weakness, or the most fatal life gate? Upon hearing this, the heavenly demon Taoist monk immediately showed an extremely horrified expression. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Mundo Fanfic Novelers, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelers. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 704. Husband and wife killing each other. Explosive killing. Hearing the question asked by Xie Luli, all the cultivators, including Luo Yan, had this word in their minds. Absolute explosive killing. Tactical weaknesses, the life gate of the technique. Are these the kind of questions you can ask casually? If you dare to ask this outside, we will fight directly. The face of the Immortal Cultivator was half blue and half white, and he suddenly asked the Thonghao's engine. Is it in line with the rules to ask questions like this? Then no matter whose turn it is next, they only need to ask the same question to immediately defeat the person being asked. Is this the test you designed? Thonghao's engine pondered for a moment and smiled. Indeed, it was my negligence. How about this, change the rules? You can't ask questions that will cause real harm to the person being asked after answering. Luo Yan. Wait. He asked incredulously, can this rule be changed temporarily? Of course you can. Thonghao's engine laughed, I'm the maker of the rules, and I say it's okay. So everyone was speechless. After a while, Tianqi's Hinren said again, if it involves the secrets of the sect, you can't ask. Also, some simple questions with obvious answers, such as whether you're a man or a woman, can't be asked. That makes sense. Thonghao's engine nodded, you can't ask these. Luo Yan fell silent after hearing this, thinking that this Thonghao's engine was really easy to follow. Husband. Xie Luli suddenly asked in a secret voice, you also noticed it, right? Yes. Luo Yan replied, the rules at the beginning were too lax and had many loopholes. It was almost as if they were deliberately inducing us to question. In my opinion, this Thonghao's engine didn't think about the content of the test at all, so he used us to help him complete the rules. Xie Luli thought for a while and slowly said, then I will change the question. This fellow Taoist of Tianmodo, let me ask you, you are no longer a virgin, right? Tianmodo Cultivator. Can't you ask a serious question? But if you think about it, you will know that this kind of test is to ask tricky questions as much as possible, so that the other party's answer can fall within the range that you can predict as much as possible. Since the cultivators of the Heavenly Demon have been with the Heavenly Demon for many years, they are easily aroused by the Devil's 7 emotions and 6 desires, so the rate of non-virginity is ridiculously high, but, she just smiled slightly and said calmly, yes. Shirley's expression did not change, but she just quietly pinched the copper plate in her palm and slowly stroked it with her fingertips. After a while, she looked at Stonghausingen again. Stonghausingen was still calm and did not raise any objections. So Shirley calmed down and said as if she had suddenly realized something. Indeed, with your appearance, I think you can't find a Taoist partner. True Lord, I think she is telling the truth. The face of the cultivator of the heavenly demon duo changed again, and only heard Stonghausingen pinching his fingers a few times and smiling. The judgment is correct. This cultivator, you're out. The atmosphere at the scene fell into a kind of stiff silence, and the rest of the people exchanged glances cautiously. No one expected that this female cultivator from the heavenly demon path was actually a virgin. In fact, no one expected that someone would be eliminated by the first question. As for the female cultivator who was eliminated first, she was angry and silent for a moment, then quickly stood up and left without saying a word. Being eliminated was an established fact, and no matter how harsh she was, it would be humiliating. It would be better to leave cleanly and neatly. People like the demon bone cultivator who liked to lose both the battle and the battle were still different in the 6 paths. So the right to ask questions fell to Luo Yan, who only heard Luo Yan clearing his throat leisurely and asked the Donghuangdo cultivator on his right. Excuse me, cultivator, if you were in the 10,000 mountains of southern Xinjiang and saw the human cultivators fighting with the demons, and the demons had the upper hand, who would you help? As soon as this was said, everyone's heart also sank. This guy is not a good person either. It should be noted that the predecessor of Donghuangdo, Beast Taming Do, is a direct sect of Jirizhao that is as famous as Tianmo, Yinhui, and Mortals. Although it likes to tame various kinds of exotic beasts and poisonous insects, it never changes the fundamental principle of humans controlling monsters. As for the current Donghuangdo, although it claims to inherit the legal system of beast taming Do, most of the sects outside do not believe it at all. Luo Yan asked such a question. If Donghuangdo really has nothing to do with the monsters, then the other party should choose to help the human cultivators without hesitation. In addition to this answer, any other reactions or replies prove that Donghuangdo is indeed suspected of secretly communicating with the monsters. Sure enough, the face of the Donghuangdo cultivator darkened, and he said coldly to Stonghausingen, "This question involves the private secrets of the sect, I don't want to answer." Stonghausingen also sneered. Even if it really involves the private secrets of the sect, you must answer this question, otherwise you will be judged out. Why is this? The Donghuangdo cultivator immediately stared. No reason, this is my test, and I set the rules. Stonghausingen said indifferently. Luo Yan also sneered in his heart. From the attitude of Zhao Lingshingen when he mentioned the inhuman demons, Luo Yan immediately judged that the Xinjiangs in the Golden Palace secret realm had a deep hatred for races other than the human race. Thinking carefully, Baiyuzhing and Golden Palace were probably established in the early ancient times. At the time, the human race had not yet dominated the world, and it was normal to be hostile to other races. Considering that these Xinjiangs have great authority, they can naturally use this to kill the Donghuangdo monk first, otherwise, wouldn't it prove that I am not as smart as Xiniangzi? Sure enough, Stonghausingen put on an unreasonable attitude, and the Donghuangdo monk had no choice but to leave angrily. Such partiality, how unfair. I'm sorry I won't accompany you. No. Stonghausingen said coldly. The other party left so neatly, which was also within Luo Yan's expectations. After all, if he stayed to force an answer, and then Stonghausingen judged the truth, it would really leak the secrets of the sect. Although this attitude of quitting directly is not much different from saying it openly, 2 people have been eliminated before the halfway point of the round. Although the danger is invisible and colorless, it gives people a thrilling feeling of swords and swords. From Luo Yan to the right, skipping the eliminated Tianmo Do and Donghuangdo monks, it is the turn of the Shudo monk. Now there are 2 people from Penglai and 1 person from Shushan on the field. There is only 1 person left on the 6 Do side. It is easy to imagine that the righteous path will definitely focus on killing him next, and then compete with each other. Knowing that there is no chance of winning, the monk gritted his teeth and asked Shilili rudely, "Hey, little girl, what position do you like to sleep with your husband next to you?" Probably in the eyes of the monk, this girl who looks pretty and reserved is ashamed to answer such a topic in the bedroom in front of so many outsiders. "I like to sleep in my husband's arms," Shilili said frankly, with clear eyes, without a trace of evil thoughts. Chapter 705. 5 to the end. The foreign monk hesitated for a moment. A lie. This Dongyu's Hinrun is so beautiful, he asked himself if he were Jinyun's Hinrun, with such a warm and soft jade in his arms, he would definitely not be able to control himself. But it's the truth. Thonghao's Hinjun laughed. So she literally passed the test safely, while Tianqi's Hinrun and the foreign monk just looked at Luoyan in surprise. It's just an ordinary meditation. No, you don't need to explain this. It was Tianqi's Hinrun's turn to ask questions. This guy hesitated for a moment, turned his head and aimed at Luoyan, and asked, I heard that you made a second-grade golden elixir. I want to know how you made a second-grade golden elixir. Luoyan frowned when he heard it. First of all, why did this guy come to challenge me? Shouldn't our orthodox sect unite to fight against the outside world and kill the Shirdo foreign monk? Of course, Luoyan only thought for a moment, and he understood the other party's calculation. If Tianqi's Hinrun chooses to kill the foreign monk, he will be perceived by the two Penglai people next. But if he can kill one of Penglai, he will enter a three-way confrontation, and he has a greater chance of winning. And this question just hit Luoyan's life gate. Although he usually boasts about his great wisdom, perseverance, and determination, Luoyan doesn't know why he can gather 800 years of what cultivation. Isn't it relying on Jing's mirror flowers and water moons and time and space shuttles, playing roles back and forth between major sects, and taking all the benefits? This is a sensitive matter that cannot be discussed. Luoyan was about to make up a lie to get by, but suddenly he heard Shilili cough, and her questions and answers just now emerged in his mind. She answered what position to sleep in, and this sleeping is obviously not the same as what the foreign monk wanted to ask. In other words, misinterpretation. Thinking of this, and thinking of the strangeness shown by Xinjun's Thonghao before, Luoyan immediately understood. So that's it. Although it is not allowed to attack the opponent with unsolvable tactics, it is allowed to use work games to defend oneself. That's easy. Luoyan said carelessly, go through the tribulation, survive, and then form a second-grade golden elixir. Xinrun Tianqi. Is that what I'm asking? He looked at Xinjun's Thonghao in disbelief, and only heard the Xinjun say, you judge first. Of course it's the truth. Xinrun Tianqi gritted his teeth and said. Xinjun's Thonghao pinched his fingers a few times, frowned and said, what he said just now, there is something untrue. There was silence in the pavilion for a long time, and then a strange atmosphere spread. Untrue? What is untrue? Go through the tribulation? Who can form an elixir without going through the tribulation? Survive? Could it be that the real Luoyan was killed by lightning? Second-grade golden elixir. The huge Penglai King Temple, with the Wonxai and Immortal verifying it, how could it not be seen what grade of golden elixir Luoyan had formed? So where was the untruth? The more everyone thought about it, the more horrible and unsolvable it felt. Even Shilili showed a look of surprise and doubt, and couldn't help but whisper to her in secret, husband, what you just said, the untruth is in then. Luoyan simply answered her, something went wrong when he was overcoming the tribulation. With Shilili's elegant and kind heart, she naturally filled in many possibilities in an instant. Did he actually form an elixir before the tribulation was completely over? According to historical records, this is not impossible. For example, when the power of the heavenly tribulation is too great and does not match the grade of the cultivator's elixir, there will occasionally be a rare situation where the cultivator forms an elixir before the last wave of heavenly tribulation arrives. Of course, for that cultivator, it means that he has to endure an extra wave of heavenly tribulation for nothing, which is very unfortunate. So is this the case with my husband? Shilili suddenly felt unhappy. This husband seemed to know everything about her, but secretly he kept many things to himself, which was really hypocritical. Kunlun Mirror noticed the increase in synchronization value, and wanted to remind Luoyan, but then he thought that this guy had asked him not to report too many hints a long time ago, so he simply pretended not to see anything. I really want to see Yuan's identity exposed and be chased to the ends of the earth by them. Tianqi's Hinrun failed to attack here, so he had to remain silent. Then it was Shilili's turn. She was in a bad mood, so she turned to look at Tianqi's Hinrun and asked, Tianqi, did you choose to ask my husband a question just now at the idea of eliminating him? Tianqi's Hinrun saw that she was coming aggressively, and he smiled bitterly in his heart. Attack Penglai first, this matter can be big or small. In a big way, it is to betray your colleagues in the righteous way for the sake of profit. At least you should eliminate the Shirdo monks first, right? In a small way, everyone is here to shoulder the tasks assigned by the sect, and they will eventually have to confront each other. In addition, the two people in front have already demonstrated correctly, and he now knows that he doesn't need to care what the other party is asking, just misinterpret it. However, the question is, will this misinterpretation be useful? Although Tiangong Fan has lost Elder Shiding, it is still the largest source of magic tools. Shili's question is not actually asking about the battle between good and evil, but threatening the other party. Do you want to offend Tiangong Fang? If you offend Tiangong Fang, you will forget about the flying sword cast by Master Dongyu in the future. As for the producer of the other flying sword, the other party seemed to be the eldest brother of Master Dongyu. Master Tiangki pondered for a moment, thinking that he was not afraid of Master Dongyu, but mainly because he failed to eliminate Master Jingnoon. Next, he would be perceived by the couple again and again. The chance of winning the test in the end was too low. It was not worth offending Tiangong Fan for this. It would be better to sell the other party out. Not really. He carefully considered the words and answered, it's just that in this secret realm, everyone has to fight for the sect. Since Master Jingnoon won, I will withdraw from it. After saying that, Master Tiangki bowed his hands apologetically, and then stood up and left in a chic manner, which made Luo Yan stunned. Seeing that the other party left without any reluctance, he realized that Master Shushan had actually intended to withdraw a long time ago, but how did my wife see it in advance? There were only 3 people left on the field, and the right to ask questions fell into Luo Yan's hands. He had already thought of the question, so he asked the foreign monk without hesitation. I heard that the Buddhism in Chura Road is very different from the Buddhism in the East. May I ask which one is superior? The foreign monk was speechless when he heard this. The Tantric Buddhism practiced by Shura Road is indeed different from the Mahayana and Hinayana Buddhism in the East, but the problem is that he himself has never practiced Buddhism, so how can he know? Of course, the Buddhism of Ashura Road is more exquisite. After thinking about it, the foreign monk could only bite the bullet and answer. Lie. Luo Yan only scanned it briefly and immediately knew that the foreign monk was being arrogant, and said quickly. It is indeed a lie. Thonghao's Hinjin pinched his fingers, then clapped his hands and laughed. Wonderful. Chapter 706 Luo Yan Cow vs. Shiluli. The second round was barely halfway through, and 2/3 of the 6 had been eliminated. The remaining 2 people happened to be a couple, which surprised Masters Thonghao. But what interested him more was how the couple would play next. Although the husband might not realize it, the wife seemed to be eager to try. The next step is simple. After the foreign monk left with a dark face, Luo Yan smiled and said, Luli, then I will just quit. Don't worry. Shiluli said calmly, it doesn't matter who wins, why don't we just follow the rules? Otherwise, it will be embarrassing for Masters Hinjin to openly give and take like this. That's right. Masters Thonghao said hurriedly, if you quit now, it will not be in accordance with the rules. Where is the rule that says you can't quit voluntarily? Luo Yan had 1,000 complaints in his heart, but considering that he couldn't reason with a woman, it seemed difficult to say more. However, the originally mature and calm Miss Shi suddenly revealed her unreasonable character that she had hidden for a long time, which really made people miss her. Thinking of this, he couldn't help but shed tears. He thought that since his wife wanted to play, he would play with her. It's my turn to ask questions. Shiluli said calmly, husband, do you have many secrets hidden from me? How is that possible? Luo Yan said without hesitation, Luli, I tell the truth. Shiluli said quickly. Wrong answer. Thonghao's Hinjin answered quickly. Husband. Husband. Shiluli raised the corners of his mouth slightly, revealing some unclear emotions, and said calmly, husband, it's your turn. Luo Yan. So you are starting to give me a lie detector test, right? Wife, are you using your magic to spy on your husband's whereabouts? He asked back unwillingly. That's right. Shiluli said without hesitation, husband and wife should love each other and know each other. I calculated my husband's whereabouts to better understand him and to further conceal him. There is no other distracting thoughts mixed in. Excuse? Luo Yan asked tentatively. Wrong. Thonghao's Hinjin said faintly, it's the truth. It's actually the truth. Luo Yan didn't know whether to be happy or sad. The good thing is that Lady Luli still loves him after all, but the sad thing is that this desire for control is too strong. Can't men have some little secrets of their own? Now you dare to calculate my whereabouts, I dare not think about what you'll calculate in the future. Husband. Shiluli continued to ask, who is secretly training you behind the scenes? This, Luo Yan was immediately in trouble. He had already expected it. If he said yes, Shiluli would say it's a lie. If he said no, Shiluli would say it's the truth. So on the basis of verifying the guess in his heart, he continued this lie detector game. Of course, if he guessed wrong, the game would end. The problem is that Luo Yan knew in his heart that her guess was not wrong at all. She guessed Arjing. It seems that it must be misinterpreted. Let me think. With his outstanding ability to understand everything he hears, Luo Yan immediately thought of a solution and replied, "No one is secretly training me behind my back. Arjing is in my sea of consciousness, not behind my back." Lying. Shiluli did not hesitate. "Tell the truth." Thongor's Hinjan said slowly. Shiluli's eyes shone, and she realized that her words were misinterpreted. She was about to ask again, but then she remembered that it was her husband's turn, so she smiled and kept silent, her thoughts turning rapidly. "My wife?" Luo Yan asked with a smile, "Have you ever felt that your husband is really useless? Without your hard work, Tiangong Fan would definitely be intact as..." "No." Shiluli was immediately anxious. "I tell the truth." Luo Yan shouted immediately. "Wrong, it's a lie." Thongor's Hinjan said calmly. Shiluli suppressed her anger, silently recited the meditation mantra several times in her heart, and just stared at Luo Yan and asked, "Husband, have you had any affair with other women after marriage?" Luo Yan answered without thinking, "Luo Yan has never had any inappropriate behavior with any woman since he married you." Shiluli looked at him in a daze, feeling as if a big stone had fallen from her heart. "No matter what else he hides from me, as long as he doesn't lie to me about this matter, tell the truth." She couldn't help but smile. This time it was not a fake smile to comfort her husband, but a real smile of joy from the heart. "Wonderful." Thonghao's Hinjan said with emotion, "The gap between people's hearts is like a natural moat. How difficult it is to know each other. Not knowing his behavior, suspicion arises naturally. Even so, still staying together shows the preciousness of true love." Okay, that's enough." Luo Yan had long disliked him, and now that Shiluli had obtained the position of the, he immediately interrupted him unhappily. "Ha ha ha, I won't say anything more." Thonghao's Hinjan waved his hand and said to Shiluli, "Your talent in arithmetic is rare in the world. According to the rules, those who obtain the position of the need to go to the Lingtine Pavilion to wait, but I guess it will take a while for 12 people to gather. If you're interested, you can learn our arithmetic in this golden secret realm." "The arithmetic?" Luo Yan asked in surprise. "Yes." Thonghao's Hinjan smiled, "All 12 of us are ancient cultivators who are proficient in arithmetic." Luo Yan immediately felt something was wrong. This Lady Luli is already very smart. If she can cultivate the arithmetic to perfection, how long can I live? Ahem. Luo Yan coughed and said, "In fact, it is enough to cultivate the art of calculation to a sufficient level. There is no need to learn further." "Learn?" Shiluli said seriously, "Of course I have to learn." "Indeed." Luo Yan quickly changed his tone, "It seems unnecessary, but considering the current situation of the struggle between good and evil, I should indeed learn something for self-defense." Shiluli rolled her eyes at him and left with the maids. "You are very smart." Thonghao's Hinjan looked at him meaningfully, "But the master of calculation is not that easy to deal with. Trying to fool a master of calculation is like seeking death, so you should take care of yourself." Humph. Luo Yan was too lazy to pay attention to him and just walked away. Leaving the pavilion where Thonghao's Hinjan was, Luo Yan was a little worried again. Mish's suspicion is getting heavier and heavier. What should I do? As Thonghao's Hinjan said, when she becomes a master of calculation, she will calculate here and there, just like 10,000 cameras watching me 24 hours a day. I don't know if a jinn can withstand Mish's scan. Bah, what scan? It's a calculation. Chapter 707. Fairy's warning. Luo Yan wakes up. Luo Yan walked around outside for a few times and found that most of the tests had already begun. This situation is not surprising. After all, the previous tests also lasted until noon tomorrow, so it can be assumed that the other tests are likely to be similar. Unless there is a test that can be ended early today, it is better to wait until tomorrow. Thinking of this, Luo Yan was not in a hurry to get the position of the, but just wandered around in the secret realm of the Golden, just as if he was visiting scenic spots. Looking carefully, he found that the Golden was completely flashy. Although there were pavilions and towers everywhere, it was only magnificent and gorgeous in appearance, but there were not many signs of long-term residence inside. Although most of the maids surrounded the true lords, they also had their own range of action. To be precise, the maids belonging to each true lord would only patrol in a certain designated area. Luo Yan suddenly stood still with a strange expression. He had already circled around the secret realm of the Golden, and a flagged map of the entire Golden Palace city appeared in his mind. Countless pavilions and towers were divided into uneven, large and small areas along various corridors, aisles, and the edges of buildings, and the area of each area was roughly the same. The only area separated from the area was the Lingtine Pavilion in the center. All the cultivators who responded to the position of the Lord of the Golden Palace from the True Lord would be guided to the Lingtine Pavilion until there were 12 people. Luo Yan calculated silently again. That's right, there are only 10 areas in the entire palace city, not 12. 12 True Lords? Why are there only 10 areas? If there were only 11 areas, then Luo Yan might think that maybe there were a bunch of couples, brothers and sisters, and brother and sister True Lords, and 2 people shared an area, but there are only 10 areas. It's impossible that there are exactly 2 couples, right? The fact is more likely that 2 areas are hidden. Considering the nature of these masters of calculation, Luo Yan felt that this was the truth. We had 12 True Lords here, but only 10 appeared in front of you. Go find the remaining 2. Thinking of this, Luo Yan smiled coldly. A trick, can it be hidden from my scan? So he circled around the Golden Palace secret realm again, and turned around carefully for a few times. Then he found that there were unusual spatial fluctuations near Lingtine Pavilion. If it were an ordinary cultivator, even if he found a hidden space here, he probably wouldn't be able to find a way to get in, but Luo Yan was not an ordinary cultivator. He took out the Tianu Divine Shuttle from the treasure bag, then activated his true essence and threw it into the air. Then, Luo Yan appeared in another space. He saw that there was a vast fog all around him, and he was shrouded in the fog that was so thick that he couldn't see his hand in front of his face. Before Luo Yan could make any move, the thick fog seemed to have consciousness and suddenly moved to both sides. That's right. A young fairy slowly stepped out of the fog with a strange expression of shock on her face. Finding this place is the test I set. I used Kim and Anjie to reverse the spatial orientation here, and then used the secret method to hide it in the void. Finally, I scattered the clues to when to this place in every corner of the Golden Palace secret realm. Unless someone who is proficient in calculations finds all the clues I left, it is impossible to enter here. And you, without finding any clues, can successfully arrive here. I really don't understand. Luo Yan smiled faintly and flattered in a hypocritical way. The tricks arranged by the True Lord are indeed brilliant. I just have good luck. You can't tell her, your maze is not worth mentioning at all. I just scanned to find the entrance first, and then walked through the wall. It was easy. After hearing what Luo Yan said, the fairy knew that the other party was not going to answer at all, so she sneered and asked, "Is the True Lord Donyu your Taoist partner? Why, does the True Lord know her?" Luo Yan was also surprised. It hasn't been long since she came in, but Miss Shi's reputation has already spread among the True Lords. She is learning astrology in there. The fairy suppressed her sneer and said lightly, "You don't have to tell me. According to the rules, the position in my hand is yours. By the way, let me advise you again. Don't try to fool a master of astrology, otherwise you'll regret it sooner or later." Luo Yan was furious when he heard this, and said in a cold voice, "Do all of you masters of astrology like to pry into other people's privacy? Since my magical power can help me enter this place, it must not be an ordinary grade of magical power. Why are you so obsessed with finding out? That's not what I mean." The fairy shook her head and said indifferently, "You're involved in a lot of cause and effect, and it is covered up by some extremely clever means. With the personality of your Taoist partner, do you think she can just leave it alone?" Luo Yan was speechless. Since she Lily lost her father, her whole personality has changed, rather than her emotional dependence, from her father, Elder Shiding, to her husband, Luo Yan. Elder Shiding is a high-level Nascent Soul cultivator, and has a transcendent status in New King Temple. Tiangong Workshop is full of talented disciples, and dominates the refining market in the entire cultivation world. Therefore, she is innocent, carefree, and has fun to her heart's content. This is because Elder Shiding wants her to be happy. When Luo Yan took over as the owner of Tiangong Workshop, there were no Nascent Soul cultivators in the workshop, and there were only 3 of the 6 disciples left. Naturally, she had to mature quickly, work hard, and help her husband run Tiangong Workshop. This is also because Luo Yan needs someone to help with chores. Therefore, Luo Yan has long seen through it. Miss Shi is a typical dependent personality, and the key to realizing the value of life is to be needed. As long as my husband continues to be a rotten person, she can extract the sense of accomplishment of being needed by my husband from it. But there are also disadvantages, that is, she will try to help her husband more and more deeply. It is a stronger desire for control. The traditional family concept says men are responsible for the outside world, women are responsible for the inside world, which is essentially a clarification of the rights and responsibilities of husband and wife to avoid conflicts. If in a family, the wife is responsible for both the outside world and the inside world, then the husband who is simply supported, in the end, apart from reporting everything to his wife, what other ending can there be? Definitely not. Thinking of this, Luo Yan finally realized. Don't try to fool Shiluli casually like you fooled Nzesu, because with her current personality and thinking mode, the more you try to fool her, the more she will try to get to the bottom of it. Thank you for your warning, Master. Luo Yan bowed solemnly. It's good that you understand. The fairy nodded majestically. What did he understand? In the sea of consciousness, Kunlun Mirror couldn't help but complain to King Ping Sword. Chapter 708. Madame Jing is not Madame Stone. There is no need to elaborate on what happened next. After leaving the Golden Palace secret realm, there was another huge scene below, like a movie, with mountains moved and the sea filled. Although it looked extremely dangerous, the immortals just wanted to cover the evacuation of their younger generations, not really risking their lives, so most of the means they used were mainly to contain, and in fact, they could not kill anyone. Escorted by Jin Lanzhinren, who was as if facing a great enemy and was extremely vigilant, Luo Yan and Shiluli quickly used magic weapons to open the road and then retreated to Penglai's camp. Wang Xiang Immortal took action and blocked all the attacks of the demon cult immortals, so that the Yu King audience could safely withdraw to Penglai. Returning to Penglai, it was naturally a part of rewarding merits. As a reward for getting the Golden Palace, Wang Xiang Immortal gave Shiluli a pill, which was red all over and exuded a strange sweet fragrance. Luo Yan suddenly found that the elixir seemed familiar. Now the flood on the east coast of Shenzhou has been pacified. Wang Xiang Immortal said with praise, Dongyu, your art of calculation is really superb. You need to work harder in this area in the future, don't waste your talent. Thank you, Immortal. Shiluli said with a smile. Jin Noon. Wang Xiang Immortal turned around, Dongyu has already told me. Now you were in the bottleneck of the root-seeking stage, so I won't give you the elixir. Here is a 7-treasure body glass branch, take it and play with it. 7-treasure body glass branch, isn't that a magic weapon of Buddhism? Luo Yan muttered in his heart as he took the treasure and thanked it repeatedly. Back at Tiangong, Luo Yan began to study this treasure. 7-treasure body glass branch, the appearance is a branch made of glass, crystal clear, and colorful. As long as the true essence is injected into it, infinite Buddha light will be born from it, and it will turn and brush to any place with the mind, almost like a finger. What use do I have for this thing? My husband, have you ever heard of the 4 glass treasures? Seeing his disdainful look, Shiluli, who was standing beside him, finally couldn't bear it anymore and reminded him, this 7 treasures body glass branch is a very precious Buddhist treasure. The 4 glass treasures are the glass tower, the glass lamp, the glass branch and the glass bead. Among them, the glass tower can open up a pure land, the glass lamp can cleanse the evil spirits, the glass branch can penetrate the bottleneck, and the glass bead can warm the soul. Using the Buddha's light of this 7 treasures body glass branch to frequently cleanse your own sea of consciousness, you can keep your mind clear, which is very beneficial for breaking through the bottleneck. If my husband doesn't plan to use it, why not give it to me and I will rent it out as a treasure at Tiangong workshop, which is also a large amount of income every month. Okay, my wife, don't say any more, your husband knows. Luo Yan was also at a loss whether to laugh or cry. He quickly put the 7 treasures body glass branch into the Tiangong treasure bag and hugged Shiluli to coax her. In fact, my wife forgot to mention one treasure, that is, Luo Yan's wife Shiluli. Stop talking nonsense. Shiluli laughed. Each of these 4 lily treasures has a name. Where is my place? There are 5 lily 4 treasures. Isn't this common sense? Luo Yan said carelessly. When someone collects all the lily 4 treasures, they will know that the 4 treasures are not as good as my 1 treasure. Then aren't you afraid that you will snatch me away? Shiluli glared at him. No. Luo Yan glared and said, whoever dares to snatch my lily, I will fight to the death. Humph. Shiluli also laughed. Then I will do the same. What do you mean? Whoever steals my husband, I will fight to the death. Shiluli said with a smile. Although the young lady was laughing, her tone was unquestionable and firm, which made Luo Yan secretly feel a little cold. If one day, Shiluli knew about their existence, no, don't scare yourself. Zesu, Zhu Yinlian, who is not better at fighting than Shiluli? Even if I was afraid that senior sister would kill me with a sword, and junior sisters you would burn me with fire. What could Miss She do? Calculate my whereabouts and then tip off the other two? Ha 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 ha. After being intimate with Shillelagh for a while, Luoyan returned to his room and said in high spirits, Jin, read the file. Point 4. Stongtai Peak, Tongshuan Sects Resident. Character Identity. Wei Dongliu. Mirror Flower Water Moon template overwritten, in the process of time and space shuttle. After not reading this file for a long time, Wei Dongliu teleported here and took the sect information of Fan Xingdu and read it carefully. It has been quite a while since Fan Xingdu was reorganized. Now it seems that under the governance of Miss Jiang, well, under my wise leadership, it has indeed shown signs of rejuvenation. Not only has the number of cultivators in the sect reached a new high, but the sphere of influence has also completely controlled Mount Watai and completely expelled the forces of other factions. The current Mount Watai is no longer the Mount Watai that anyone could set foot on in the past. Instead, it has become the territory of the Mortal Duo. Therefore, the outside world generally believes that the Mortal Duo has completely risen. Although it has not yet been able to compete with the Heavenly Demon and the Ghost Duo, it is on the same level. Of course, Wei Dongliu knows very well. The Mortal Duo has many low-level cultivators, and the number of high-level cultivators is still far behind that two duos. As for the degree of organization of the sect, it is far inferior. To say that the 6 paths are in a tripod is really flattering the Mortal Duo. But it doesn't matter. After all, Wei Dongliu was not making the Mortal Duo great again, but to create a heroic character who can make the Mortal Duo great again. The co-master of the 6 paths is my goal. Why are you in a good mood today, my husband, and are concerned about the affairs of the sect? Jiang Li asked teasingly in his ear. That's because my wife is capable and can do more work. Wei Dongliu said casually. Her. Jiang Li sat in his arms and asked with a sweet smile, why did my husband suddenly say sweet words? Wei Dongliu's heart tightened, and then he remembered that this was Madame Jiang, not Madame Shi. If Madame Shi is a candy that can be held in the mouth, then Madame Jiang is a devil pepper covered with red oil. Sugar can be held in the mouth and tasted slowly, but not devil pepper, it's too spicy. Sure enough, Jiang Li had come over to touch him randomly, and Wei Dongliu quickly pressed down her restless hands and said in a deep voice, why, are you blushing? Madam, your face is so thin and tender, how can you be a good deputy headmaster? I'll let you see if I'm thin-skinned. Jiang Li was so angry that when had I, the daughter of the Demon King, been insulted like this? She immediately aroused all her magic skills to completely arouse Wei Dongliu's desire. In the sea of consciousness, Kunlun mirror side and defended against all these magic tricks. Wei Dongliu was unaware of anything, and just forcibly hugged Jiang Li who kept moving around, and then changed into the image of a demon king with red hair and double pupils, and said coldly, be quiet. Jiang Li really calmed down, just put her chin on his shoulder and didn't move, blinking her eyes and looking at him innocently, like a well-behaved and ignorant pure girl. This contrast is lethal to most men, and there is even a special word to describe it. Pure and lustful. But Wei Dongliu is very experienced in dealing with such things after all, and there is no sign of losing control at all, which makes Jiang Li sneer in his heart, and his obsession becomes more and more serious. Forgot to click publish. Chapter 709. Borrowing a sword, not giving it away. Jiang Li is practicing a magic skill. Of course, every demon is practicing magic skills, but as the top demon of Hidhodiazizatian, Jiang Li's magic skills are undoubtedly the highest level, which can gain a lot of power from pure desire, instead of using it as food to maintain its own existence like other demons. When you practice magic skills to a high level, you'll have all kinds of mysterious perceptions, such as being able to detect danger in advance, or knowing that Wei Dongliu is your true love the moment you see him. The so-called true love is not a saying that exists among the demons. Because most demons will treat the human race as a bag of jelly, anyway, they will just suck it up. However, Jiang Li is an outlier among the demons. She has had the idea of sustainable development since a long time ago. If you can find a man who can make you continue to have various obsessions, why do you have to suck it? To some extent, this is also that dividing line between nomadic civilization and agricultural civilization. The former simply depends on the weather for food, and will die if there is nothing to eat, while the latter can at least give play to more subjective initiative. In addition, Wei Dongliu was indeed a wonderful person. Since being with him, Jiangmonu can find all kinds of fun almost every day. Her emotions rise and fall like a roller coaster, and her magic skills have also soared, which makes her two sisters Li Chu and Li Hin quite envious, and they also want to find a piece of bread to fall in love. As for becoming a Taoist couple with Wei Dongliu, is it because of love or to increase the magic skills? The two sisters think it is the latter, and Jiangli is very secretive about it and never answers. By the way, I may have to go back to the headquarters of Tianmo Duo recently. She put her arm around Wei Dongliu's neck and said coquettishly. Oh, what's wrong? Wei Dongliu asked calmly. Our headquarters of the Heavenly Demon sect is in Dapan Mountain, East China Sea, Yangzhou. Jianglin said with a chuckle. I don't know why, there have been frequent tsunamis in the East China Sea recently, which has flooded most of our buildings on the island. I have to go back and take a look. Oh. Wei Dongliu nodded calmly, then go. This cold scumbag did not show any reluctance at all, which made Jiangmonu very angry. So she left the sect angrily, drove the magic mist, and flew straight to the east. The reason why she ran to the east was certainly not to protect the sect. What is the Heavenly Demon sect? Just a toy. She actually wanted to see her two sisters. Above the East China Sea, Jianglin, Li Chu, and Li Hen, the three heavenly demons, stood in the air, surrounded by thick black fog, which completely submerged their figures, and they could not see anything inside from the outside. My husband is going to the Golden Palace. Jianglin said coldly. Do you know the Golden Palace? One of the four major notes. Li Chu replied. It is equivalent to the gun carriage of a cannon. Li Hen also added. Inside the Golden Palace, there is a magic array to prevent us demons from invading. Jianglin said in a cold voice, as demons, where in this world can we not go? Can you allow this to happen? Of course not. Absolutely not. The two sisters said in unison. That being said, everyone knew that the elder sister was just worried about letting her brother-in-law go in alone, so she had to find a younger sister to follow and watch. Well. Jianglin was very satisfied with their tact, so he said, who of you will go in and scout the way for me? I'll go. Li Chu volunteered. Compared with her younger sister Li Hen, Li Chu is more mature and stable, and Jianglin is more confident in her, so he nodded majestically. On the other hand, because his wife went back to her parents' home unhappily, Wei Dongliu finally felt a little pressure. Why are there so many political affairs to deal with every day in this sect? So he called his two disciples Gyojin and Banjun and said, how have you been practicing recently? What, you haven't formed a golden elixir yet? The Wafu stage is a period that tests one's hard work. It's not a bad thing if you haven't formed a golden elixir yet. Please help me deal with these political affairs first. Master. Gyojin said honestly, my disciple has accumulated 200 years of Wafu cultivation by chance recently, so I plan to form a golden elixir. Oh. Wei Dongliu showed an expression of as expected, and said calmly, third-grade golden elixir, you have been working hard recently. Since you were going to form a golden elixir, you don't have to work for the time being. Banjun. Banjun stepped forward with a bitter face. Master. How much is your Wafu stage cultivation? 130 years. Why only 130 years? Wei Dongliu said unhappily, your senior brother didn't enter the sect much earlier than you. He has been here for more than 200 years. Master. Banjun immediately complained, you don't know how lucky your senior brother is. The girl started to chatter, describing Gyojin's various lucky deeds in a grandiose way, saying that he was just about to encounter the Purple Palace secret medicine falling from the sky when he went out. Wei Dongliu naturally would not take the sharp words of this second disciple as the truth, but Gyojin, the eldest disciple, was indeed blessed. Madame Jing seemed to have told me before. Well, it was different from the type of blessing of Madame Shi. She was just cheating before, and the heavens and the earth changed the answer to let me do it. While Gyojin was more like a kind of passive protagonist's luck, and he happened to guess the answer by chance. Looking at Gyojin's embarrassed and honest look, Wei Dongliu laughed again. Thinking about it carefully, it was true. If it wasn't for his very good luck, with his poor cultivation qualifications, why would he be picked by me at first sight in the mortal school? With my status and position as Wei Dongliu, Gyojin can worship me as a teacher. Isn't it the best proof that he has a deep blessing like heaven? Thinking of this, he no longer bothered about how Gyojin had acquired the Purple Mansion cultivation for 200 years. After thinking for a moment, he took out the Wanshang Zhuxian sword and said, since you need to pass the tribulation, take it for self-defense. Master, Gyojin was immediately moved and sobbed. Wang Jun beside him also showed a look of extreme shock. You have to know that this is not an ordinary flying sword, but the Wanshang Wuxian sword. Even among the 11th level flying swords, it is also one of the four notorious swords of Zhuxian, and the Wanshang Wuxian sword can form a formation with a single sword. Master is so willing to give it up. Is this still the master who lets go and searches for things? Why are you crying? Wei Dongliu said impatiently, if you're really grateful, help your master pass the tribulation smoothly, and come back to report after the pill is formed. If he hadn't known that Yuo Jin could pass the tribulation smoothly and even his origin was not damaged, he really wouldn't dare to lend the Wanshang Wuxian sword like this. What if it was broken in the tribulation? But knowing the result in advance, Wei Dongliu was naturally happy to show off his teacher's dignity. Looking at Yuo Jin again, the eldest disciple was already in tears. He knelt down to receive the sword and said sincerely, disciple promises to do his best to ensure that the sword given by master is not lost. It's borrowing the sword, not giving the sword. Chapter 710. Wei Dongliu's sharp comments on the three pure ones. The eldest disciple Yuo Jin went to survive the tribulation, and the second disciple Wang Jun handled government affairs. Wei Dongliu suddenly felt that the burden on his shoulders was lightened. Very good, this is the life that a leader should have. How can you be called a leader if you deal with government affairs all day? It's more like a rubber stamp. Next, just wait leisurely for the news from the Golden Palace secret realm. Wei Dongliu fished like this for a few days, and before the news came, Wen Yang from the Ingido came to visit. Fellow Daoist Wei. In the reception hall, she smiled as soon as she came in. I have already formed a pill. Oh? Congratulations. Wei Dongliu said calmly. Where is fellow Daoist Jiang? Wen Yang looked around for a moment. Which Jiang has been gone for a few days, don't you know that she has left Mount Watai? Why are you pretending to be an ignorant girl here? There is something going on at the headquarters of the demonic duo, so she went back first. Wei Dongliu replied. So that's how it is. Wen Yang showed an expression that said, although I have something to talk to her about, I can't help it if she's not here, so I'll chat with you by the way. Then he smiled and complimented, Master Wei, the mortal duo was in decline in the past, but now it has risen again under your leadership. This has become a good story within the six paths. Some people even use this as a homophone and call you the master of the prosperous duo, which means that no matter how declining a sect is, as long as Master Wei is the master, it will have the possibility of rapid prosperity. Ha ha, it's nothing. Wei Dongliu was greatly pleased, but said, I just did a small job, and I don't deserve such praise from you. Wen Yang blinked playfully when he heard this, and said, a small job? Not to mention our six paths, even the three pure ones who claim to be the orthodox religion are half afraid and half in awe of your ability. Even the Kunlun Sept master said that your talent is not inferior to that of Chan Zheng's Hinrun, which made me laugh to death. Although Chan Zheng's Hinrun is a first-grade golden elixir, he only shows off his power in cultivation, but has never shown any talent in governing the sect. Can he be compared with Doya? I think Kunlun is really going downhill. Although Wen Yang was trying to please him, he was also very observant. Seeing that Wei Dongliu seemed a little speechless, he just thought that he was afraid of Qiu Changtian's strength and hurriedly said, let's not talk about that. This time I came here to tell you about the Golden Palace secret realm. Oh? Duo Wen, please go ahead. Wei Dongliu finally became interested. Although it was nice to listen to the beautiful Wen praising him, it was really not advisable to put someone down and praise someone else, not to mention that the other person was praising another of his own. We have probably already found out the time and manpower of the three pure ones going to the Golden Palace secret realm. Wen Yang smiled, why don't you guess, Master Wei, which righteous newcomers will be sent there this time? Yes. Wei Dongliu pretended to guess. First of all, according to the requirements of the Golden Palace secret realm, only Jinden's Hinrun can enter it. That's right. Wen Yang smiled. Secondly, the three pure ones disciples who won the 12th master position in the last Baiyuzheng competition, if they are Jinden's Hinrun this time, must be on the list of exploring the secret realm. Wei Dongliu made a judgment. Why is that? Wen Yang exclaimed, then laughed. Indeed, those who can win the 12 main positions of Baiyuzheng must be the most elite foundation-building disciples of Sanqing, and the quality of their golden elixir cannot be low. Not only that. Wei Dongliu continued, if I were the head of Sanqing, I would definitely consider whether there might be some kind of mysterious connection between the main position of Baiyuzheng and the main position of Wang Jinke. For this unconfirmed possibility, even if they just try it, they have the motivation to exclude the disciple who won the main position of Baiyuzheng. I see. Wen Yang acted convinced, "Friend Wei has a meticulous mind, I'm not as good as him." After Wen Yang became a woman, how come 2 out of 3 sentences of flattery? Wei Dongliu was puzzled and continued, "In that case, Chang Zhen, Qin Yin, Jian Xiao, Kim Hen, Dong Yu and Jin Yun, these 6 people must be on the list." At the time, they were still in the foundation building stage, but now they have formed the golden core. Wen Yang couldn't help but sigh, there are so many people in the 3 pure ones of the orthodox sect who are making rapid progress in their cultivation. In that case, there are 2 people each from Kunlin, Shushan and Penglai. Does Brother Wei have any guesses about the rest? It's not difficult. Wei Dongliu said calmly, "These 6 people have not formed the golden core for a long time, and their fighting skills are definitely not as good as those of the old-fashioned golden core masters of the Wei level. Therefore, the 3 pure ones will definitely send the chief of the golden core realm in the sect, that is, the number 1 person below the nascent soul, to escort these 6 people. The number 1 in the golden core realm of Kunlun is Han Yuan. The number 1 in the golden core realm of Shushan is Jin Wei. It is more difficult to guess who is on the Penglai side, but if the scope is narrowed down to the lineage of the head of Xuandu, who is proficient in talismans or alchemy, then there are actually not many possibilities." Great. Wen Yang was really impressed this time, his eyes sparkling with brilliance. No wonder the head of Kunlun said that fellow Daoist Wei is the big threat to the orthodox sect. Only with such insight and vision, who in the entire cultivation world can have such insight? Among the people dispatched by the orthodox sect this time, Han Yuan, Chang Zhen, Qin Yin, Jin Wei, Jian Xiao, Kim Hen, Xian Lan, Jin Yun, and Dong Yu, the 9 people guessed by fellow Daoist Wei are all correct. As for the other 3, it is too difficult to guess. Why don't you guess which sect among the 3 pure ones they are from? It must be Shushan without a doubt. Wei Dongliu said without hesitation. This, Wen Yang was shocked for a moment, thinking that the information from the Engido was leaked, but he quickly calmed down and asked tentatively with a smile, "Why is this?" "It's easy to guess." Wei Dongliu laughed, "The key lies in this Golden Palace secret realm, which sect discovered it. If Kunlun finds out, given its nature of pride in being the leader of the orthodox religion, it will most likely choose to divide the quota equally, that is, each sect will send 4 people. But fellow Daoist Win asked me which sect the remaining 3 came from, which means that one sect sent 6 people. Unless the Golden Palace is located inside the Kunlun Mountains, it is unlikely that the Tai King sect would act so high profile. Look at Penglai. Ever since Penglai was besieged by my 6 paths and its vitality was severely damaged, it also knew that its strength was declining, so its strategy was adjusted to tie itself up with Kunlun and make friends with Shushan. To put it simply, it is selling goods to Shushan and giving up profits, and getting protection from Kunlun. If Penglai discovers the Golden Palace secret realm first, then it is very likely to be 543. Shushan will send 3 people, and Kunlun and Penglai will be 54 or 45. The specific situation depends on Kunlun's attitude. Only if Shushan discovers the Golden Palace secret realm first, with the momentum of the Shang King sect, will it do something like monopolizing half of the quota. Indeed. Wen Yang was full of admiration, but he secretly felt a little scared in his heart. Wei Dongliu was not only unfathomable in strength, but also has such a terrifying vision and ability to calculate. No wonder he is valued by the Bloodsea ancestor. He is not a disciple, but he is better than a direct disciple. For us in the Engido, the life path is strong on the outside but weak on the inside, and we are actually not to be afraid of, but this Wei Dongliu, no one can compete with him in the Engido. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Mundo Fanfic Novelers, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelers. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 711. Scheming Wen Yang, Provoking Online. This time, 3 people from Kunlun, 6 people from Shushan, and 3 people from Penglai, a total of 12 people, will form a team to go to Shiwa Peak to find the entrance to the Golden Secret Realm. The time is set for noon the day after tomorrow. We will gather at the golden summit of Imre Mountain in Shushan, and then travel west together. As for Shiwa Peak, Shushan has already sent people there in advance to investigate repeatedly. And it is precisely because of the excessive number of times that it has attracted the attention of our hidden men. So far, it has been confirmed that the entrance to the secret realm is at the top of Shiwa Peak, but the method to open it has not yet been determined. Therefore, this time Shushan invited Jian Bian from the Jian family in King Zhou to investigate on the spot by divination. In addition, there are 10 elders from Shushan and the head of Yuzheng himself to escort them. Yes. Although he had already known this information, and might even know more than the Ingadeo, Wei Dongliu still showed a serious attitude and said to Wen Yang seriously, since the entrance has not been discovered yet, why don't we follow closely behind, without leaving any traces, and wait for the entrance to the Golden Secret Realm to be discovered, and then move out in one fell swoop to seize the initiative. We thought so too. Wen Yang said with a smile, the road ahead is unclear, so let the three pure ones explore the way for us. As for the personnel allocation, the Venerable said that the more people enter the secret realm, the more difficult the corresponding test will be. Therefore, we plan to set the number of people to 12, including 4 from the Inghost sect, 3 from the Heavenly Demon sect, 2 from the Ordinary Life sect, 2 from the Shira sect, and 1 from the Eastern Emperor sect. What do you think, fellow Daoist Wei? Wei Dongliu listened calmly and sneered in his heart. Wen Yang was not qualified to make suggestions on this allocation plan, and it must have been formulated by the Venerable Baigyi from the Inghost sect. The Inghost sect and the Heavenly Demon sect have the largest number of people. In other words, despite the outside world's boasting about the 6 parts of the Jirijiao and the 3 pillars, in fact, in the eyes of the old sects such as the Heavenly Demon and the Inghost sect, the Ordinary Life sect is not qualified to be compared with them and can only belong to the second echelon. Of course, outsiders like Shira and the Eastern Emperor must be relegated to the third echelon. Although the Shiradao and the Fanxingdao sent 2 people this time, it was because the plateau area where Shiwa Peak is located is the territory of the Shiradao, so they were given an extra quota. I will ask the Bloodsea Patriarch to review this matter. Wei Dongliu replied calmly. Then wait for your news. Wen Yang smiled. He asked someone to lead Wen Yang to the guest room for accommodation. Wei Dongliu pondered for a moment, and then flew to the top of the peak alone on his sword. In the snow, under the huge rock, he told the Bloodsea Patriarch in detail about the latest developments of the matter. Very good. The Bloodsea Patriarch said lightly, then do as Baigyi said. You go to the sect to pick 2 people to represent the Fanxingdao to attend this appointment at the Golden Palace. How else can I choose 2 people? I, the head of the Wei sect, plus my eldest disciple Guo Jin who has just formed a pill, that's it. After the personnel were selected, Wei Dongliu went to find Wen Yang and asked her when the Golden Palace secret realm would open. Of course, he knew the date a long time ago, but he had to pretend not to know and ask. After just half a day of absence, Wen Yang came out of the room, wearing a set of men's clothes, looking heroic and charming. Wei Dongliu saw her dressed like this, and he didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Ahem. Wen Yang explained awkwardly, I've been wearing women's clothes for too long, so I changed into men's clothes to ease my mood. Women's clothes is what you wanted, right? Wei Dongliu asked with a hint of meaning. That's what the Venerable meant. Wen Yang smiled helplessly. In his opinion, since I am a girl, if I force myself to dress like a man, it would be like deliberately making myself ugly. So I always show myself in women's clothes in the sect's residence. Let's not talk about this. Have you decided on the candidates for Fanxingdao? Yes. When is the date? Shushan will set off the day after tomorrow, so we have to leave at midnight tomorrow night and gather at Jinfen Pavilion on Beiman Mountain. Don't let the news leak out. Of course. The next day, Guo Jin successfully survived the Jin and Heavenly Tribulation and returned with the Wangxai Bangzhuxian sword to report. Very good. Wei Dongliu, who had expected this, took back the Wangxai Bangzhu Immortal Sword and said, Master will give you the Taoist name, Mingling. Since you have already formed the elixir and become a real person, you must shoulder more responsibilities. Follow Master to Beiman Mountain tonight. Guo Jin naturally had no objection, but just nodded in agreement. Jinfen Pavilion is located deep in Beiman Mountain, but no one knows who built it in ancient times. Due to its remote location, mortals rarely come here to live. Only cultivators will settle here. At 3:30 p.m., many cultivators from the 6 paths have also arrived here one after another. 4 people from the Invaluable, namely the Demon Bone Immortal and his 3 younger brothers. 3 people from the Heavenly Demon, all of whom are enchanting and beautiful female cultivators, are omitted. 2 people from the Shiradao, one dressed as a wide-robed foreign monk, and the other looked like a lay cultivator. That was the Demon Flame Immortal that Qiu Changtai met. There is also a cultivator from the East Emperor, who was omitted. After browsing through all the people, Wei Dongliu suddenly realized that Wen Yang was not there. Doorway, I'm here. A humble little brother next to the Demon Bone Master suddenly spoke. His face suddenly moved, and then changed into a pretty female appearance. Doorway? Wei Dongliu said in surprise. It turned out that this guy was actually pretending to be the younger brother of the Demon Bone Master. No wonder I didn't see her in the secret realm. Just as Wei Dongliu was thinking this, he suddenly heard the Demon Bone Master ask unhappily, "Li Mention, who is this?" "This is the Wei sect master of the mortal life duo." Wen Yang said with a smile, "Wei, let me introduce you. This is the Demon Bone Master of our Yongido." Demon Bone? Wei Dongliu pondered for a moment, and saw the Demon Bone Master's eyes looking at Wen Yang, and then turning to him. After several back and forth, his eyes became more and more alert and unfriendly, just like a male beast seeking a mate, suddenly found another male next to the opposite sex he liked. "Oh, this guy is pursuing Wen Yang and regards me as a rival in love." Wei Dongliu laughed in his heart, and winked at Wen Yang, asking her to come over and explain. "I'm a man with a Taoist partner, and I will not bother with you, a loser." Wen Yang seemed not to see his eyes, but just walked to Wei Dongliu's side, smiled and explained to him. "This Taoist name is strange, right?" In fact, he gave it to himself. The subtext is that this person has no culture, like the Shudo monk, and his Taoist name is Moyan and Dianam at any time. Wei Dongliu barely broke his smile, and heard the real person Mogyu asked with a smile. "Li Mention, do you know Master Wei?" Seeing that this guy's hostility was getting stronger, Wei Dongliu coughed hurriedly, signaling Wen Yang to explain it quickly. "Well, we are old acquaintances who have known each other for a long time." Wen Yang said with a smile, "It's a pity. If it weren't for fellow Taoist Jing who got there first and married Master Wei, maybe I would be the headmaster's wife now." "Hey, I don't want you to explain it like this." Chapter 712. Master Wei has experience in dealing with quarrels with women. The 12 real people have all arrived, but Venerable White Bone has not yet appeared. After a long time, the leader of the Ingido, Fushi, finally arrived and said in a serious tone, "Master Wei will be in charge of the overall command of this trip. The Ingido will send 12 elders to escort along the way. Please feel free to send them, Master Wei." Before Wei Dongliu could say anything, Master Mogyu started yelling, "What? Father? How can you call me Master?" Master Fushi interrupted him directly. "This matter has been decided by the Venerable, and you are not allowed to judge it arbitrarily." He scolded Master Mogyu mercilessly, and explained to Wei Dongliu apologetically, "My son is rude, and Master Wei, I'm sorry to have embarrassed you." "It's okay." Wei Dongliu showed a kind expression. It's normal for young people to be full of energy. His face of "how can I care about a child" made Master Mogyu very sick, but his father was beside him, so he couldn't refute it. He could only turn away expressionlessly and said nothing. This made Wei Dongliu look at him with a higher opinion. I thought this guy would be so careless and furious, but he actually had some basic emotional intelligence, about the level of a 10-year-old child. But compared to Wen Yang, it was really not good enough. At this time, she was skillfully smoothing things over. With a few words, she gave the Fixie sect master a way out, and the atmosphere was much more relaxed. Perhaps knowing that the Demon Bone would definitely not be able to catch up with Wen Yang, the Fixie sect master was joking with Wei Dongliu, while hinting in a roundabout way that many people were chasing Wen Yang, which made Wei Dongliu very annoyed. "What, you don't have the confidence to defeat me head-on, so you all want to use the beauty trap?" After chatting for a long time, everyone set off. In order to avoid attracting attention, the members of the demon sect did not take any large magic weapons, but flew directly on swords, using the clouds to cover themselves. Due to the extremely high altitude of the flight, the sound of the surrounding demons became louder and louder. Fortunately, there were 3 demon monks in the team, who helped to isolate the impact. Among the 3, the leader was Ling Yun's Hinran, who was said to be the direct descendant of the leader of the heavenly demon sect. This female cultivator had a good appearance and a very gentle and pleasant voice, but she kept pestering him to chat, which was a little annoying. Wen Yang in front of him kept turning his head and cast a strange look of gloating, which made Wei Dongliu even more unhappy. "I heard that the wife of the leader Wei is a cultivator of our heavenly demon sect?" Ling Yun's Hinran asked with a smile. "Yes." Wei Dongliu asked casually, "Does fellow Taoist Ling Yun know her?" "I heard a little about it before." Ling Yun's Hinran smiled and covered her mouth. "It is indeed rare for a foundation-building disciple to survive the hands of Elder Kaimo. But I heard that she has recently been appreciated by the ancestors here, so I think she has soared to the sky." She signaled Wen Yang in front of her with her eyes, which made Wei Dongliu quite agree. Indeed, in this world of cultivation, no matter how good the cultivation talent is, it is not as useful as being directly cultivated by the elders of the sect. The most typical example is Wei Dongliu himself, who was appreciated by the Blood Sea Patriarch and became the head of the Mortal Duo directly with the body of a golden elixir. Another example is Wen Yang and Jing Niangzi, who were also taken care of by the immortals of the sect and then rose to prominence. In comparison, Qiu Changtian was only taken care of by the head of Ziwei sect, which was much weaker. The opposite example is Ling Yunpo, who was disliked by the immortal Chanmei because of his master Su Jian, and his status in the entire Shushan was quite embarrassing. What are you talking about? Wen Yang suddenly fell behind on purpose, hovering on the other side of Wei Dongliu with his sword, and asked with a smile, "Did someone mention my name just now?" "No." Ling Yunzhenren smiled and covered his mouth. "We were just chatting. They said that if we can be appreciated by immortals, we can soar to the sky." That being said, Wen Yang smiled faintly, "But what can be appreciated by immortals? Qualifications, character, and good fortune are all indispensable. Immortals are not aunties buying vegetables on the roadside who will appreciate any broken vegetables and rotten stems." There was some thorn in these words. Ling Yunzhenren's beautiful eyes moved, and suddenly smiled. "What Li Yunzhenren said is not wrong, but among these three, I think good fortune is the most important. As long as good fortune is there, even if you were a pig or a dog, who knows if you will not be chosen by the immortals?" Ling Yunzhenren is joking. If pigs and dogs can be chosen by immortals, then what is not chosen by immortals? Wen Yang made a witty remark and teased, "Something worse than pigs and dogs?" The two beauties were tit for tat, retorting, but they were both smiling, making the other side unable to vent, so that the male monks around them subconsciously moved away, thinking that only women and villains are difficult to raise, and the ancients were not deceiving me. Wei Dongliu was sandwiched between the two people, and he didn't care how they chatted, just looked ahead expressionlessly, maintaining the arrogant attitude of the sect leader. In the eyes of the surrounding monks, everyone was amazed. This sect leader Wei is worthy of being the leader of a sect. Just looking at him sandwiched between the two women, his dignity is not lost at all, and you know that this person is definitely a veteran. Master Mo Yan said with emotion. "What veteran?" Master Mo Give said disdainfully, "I think Master Ling Yun is right, but he is just a pig dog that was casually picked by the Blood Sea ancestor." Master Mo Yan didn't want to offend the son of the head of the Invaluable, so he simply pulled the flying sword away and stopped talking. The crowd soon entered the plateau, and several Shrewd welders approached and joined the team. Therefore, the demon sect had more manpower and strength than the Shushan team in that distance. However, since the Golden Palace secret realm had not yet been opened, everyone could only lurk in the clouds several miles away, waiting for the results from the Shushan side. "Pay attention." The elder of the Ingido suddenly said, "They found an altar. I think it should be the altar for the opening of the Golden Palace secret realm." Wei Dongliu immediately ordered, "Everyone move forward. Until the closest distance." "Master Wei." Another elder at the Ingido said, "If we move to the closest distance, I'm afraid that so many of us won't be able to hide for long. Unless the altar is about to be opened soon, isn't this too risky?" "No problem." Wei Dongliu knew that as long as the statue was placed on the altar, the Sky Highlight Road would appear immediately, so he said decisively, "Everyone follow me and move closer." So all the elders cast spells together, urging the dark clouds to move towards the sky above Shua Peak. Under normal circumstances, such a large cloud approaching would indeed easily attract the attention of the monks below. However, at this time, the minds of the orthodox monks were all on the altar discovered by Luo Yan, so no one noticed the abnormality in the air. With the appearance of the Sky Highlight Path, Wei Dongliu made a prompt decision and took the lead in attacking, covering the altar with the Wangxai Bangjuexi and sword formation. Chapter 713 Wei Dongliu accepts the test. As the dark wind and black fog rolled, the Wangxai Bangjuexi and sword formation had already fallen, completely covering the area around the altar. Countless sword ki rolled around, and the thick evil spirit and malice rushed towards him, but one person rushed out from it and stepped onto the light path first. It was the Shushan Ling Yunpo. Zisu followed, and the other cultivators also woke up as if from a dream, and didn't care about resisting the sword formation at all, and rushed to the Tongtian light path. Wei Dongliu had no time to attack them, but just used all his strength to operate the sword formation, attacking the surrounding Shushan elders, and covering the real people on the side of the demonic path to approach the altar. Don't fly the sword. Walk. Walk on the light path from the altar. The demon bone real person snorted coldly, ignoring his command at all, and just led his brothers to fly the sword to rush to the light path. Wei Dongliu looked carefully, and this guy actually kept a secret and didn't rush to the front. Sure enough, the two brothers rushed to the light path with their swords, hit its restrictions head-on, and were hit by the recoil force, bleeding from their mouths and noses, and flew back. The three female monks of the heavenly demonic sect were originally in the second echelon. After hearing Wei Dongliu's reminder, Ling Yunzhenren took the lead in slowing down the speed of flying swords. Seeing this, they dared not rush forward. They just led people to land on the altar first, and then quickly rushed up the light path. With these three in front, the other demons followed suit. While Wei Dongliu and the elders of the Inghost sect and Shura sect blocked the attacks from Shusham for them, they also landed on the altar one after another. When the elder of the demon bone helped up the two younger brothers and quickly ascended to the sky behind Wen Yang, an elder of the Inghost sect shouted, "Master Wei, don't delay, go quickly." Wei Dongliu did not hesitate, and finally rushed to the sky-high light path, climbing up non-stop. Together with the previous trumpets, this is the fourth time to enter the palace, and he is familiar with the road. But this time there is no beauty to accompany him, and ascending to the sky alone is quiet. Falling from the light road, Wei Dongliu cast a spell and landed steadily on the black mist, revealing the appearance of a demon king with red hair and double pupils. As soon as he landed, before he had time to walk around, countless beautiful maids came from all directions. Wei Dongliu was a little surprised, thinking that it would save him from looking for them. Then he found that these beautiful maids were all wearing armor and carrying swords, pinching sword gestures with their hands, and chanting in unison. "The demon is killed." Wei Dongliu. Before he could react, he saw the world hanging upside down under his feet, and the atrograms changed. He had been teleported to another place. It seemed that this place was a dungeon, with rocks above his head, water under his feet, and darkness all around. Another true master came on the water, but he was an old man wearing a military helmet and holding a long sword in one hand. The light in his eyes was like thunder. He stared at Wei Dongliu for a moment, frowned and asked, "You, what are you? Why are you still cursing?" Wei Dongliu had a cold face and said nothing. The old man was silent for a moment, and asked again, "Are you the Avitai demon lord? Or a human?" "I'm a human." Wei Dongliu was furious. This answer made the old true lord even more puzzled. It should be noted that with the arrogance of the demon lord, he would never admit that he was a human, but I am is indeed the demon lord's habit, so, a human with the blood of the Avitai demon lord. A person born with a chaotic demon body. Thinking of this, the true lord's expression also eased, and he asked cautiously, "What are you doing here?" "I am the lord of the mortal path, and I am here to take the position of the lord of the golden palace." Wei Dongliu replied. "The position of the golden palace must be held by the human race." The true lord shook his head and refused. "I have already said that I am a human." Wei Dongliu frowned and said, "Don't you all know how to calculate? Isn't it clear if you calculate it?" The true lord really pinched the seal with one hand, calculated silently for a moment, and then showed a look of surprise. Although there is a possibility of mixed blood, the results of the arithmetic are always vague and will not give very accurate results, such as this person is half human and half a demon. At this time, the arithmetic result shows that this person is human. The Golden Palace secret realm only allows humans to enter the trial, and does not allow other races to enter. So how to calculate mixed blood? Naturally, it is calculated according to the results of the arithmetic. In any case, even if this person has the blood of the Avitai demon lord, it is impossible to be very high, and this person is even less likely to think of himself as a demon. Even if one of the two is missing, the arithmetic result may not show that he is human. Thinking of this, the true lord also put away his hostile attitude and slowly said, "I am the true lord Shnyu. This is the lowest level of the Golden Palace secret realm. If any cultivator enters and commits a murder, he will be imprisoned here and punished." Wei Dongliu also knew that he could not use force in the Golden Palace secret realm, so he nodded slightly with reserve. "Since you have come here by chance, you can accept my test." Shinju's Hinjin continued, "But I will explain in advance. My test is the most difficult among all Hinjuns. Few people have passed it in previous years. If you don't want to participate, you can also withdraw and accept the test of others Hinjuns." Wei Dongliu pondered for a moment and asked, "Don't the masters of the Golden Palace want to gather 12 people? If no one passes the test of this Hinjin, how can we gather 12 people?" "This is also simple." Shinju's Hinjin replied, "I have to guard the prison here and have no time to split myself. Therefore, if no one finds this place, I will give the qualification of the palace in my hand to others Hinjuns for testing and then pass it on." Of course, others Kinjons often have to gather 6 people and then let them compete with each other, but in my case, the test is only for you, so you should think about it first and then choose. Then give it a try. Wei Dongliu agreed decisively. Anyway, it doesn't cost money to try. Very good. Master Shinryu smiled with his hands behind his back. Fellow duelist, please follow me. He led the way to the depths of the prison, and Wei Dongliu followed closely behind, noticing that the prison fences on both sides were engraved with various runes, but there was nothing inside. After walking for a while, Master Shinryu suddenly stopped in front of a prison cell and said, "Fellow duelist, look at this person." Wei Dongliu looked closely and saw a slender young woman sitting inside, with her head lowered and her long hair covering her face, so her appearance could not be seen. A blood-stained iron chain pierced her scapula and tied her to the torture device on the wall. This person is the daughter of the mayor of Donglei City. Shinryu Kinjin said indifferently, Donglei City is a big city of the human race, and its mayor is also an elder of the human race, highly respected, but unfortunately he raised such a traitor. Because of her lover's beauty, she told the secret to the demon spy, causing the human army to fall into a deep valley and suffer heavy losses. Now she is imprisoned here, and the punishment is to be determined. According to the law, she should be beheaded for traitors, and her crimes are so serious that it would not be too much to use thunder magic to smash her into powder. But the mayor of Donglei City privately asked us to save her life, and her father is willing to make up for her for the rest of his life. If we forgive her crime, the human army will be annihilated. How tragic is that? But no one has confessed the crime, and the public sentiment in the outside world is surging, and they will certainly not give up. But if we do not punish her severely, I'm afraid that the Lord of Donglei City will change his mind. This person is in a high position and has great power, and the human race cannot let this great man become disloyal. Let me ask you, how to deal with this girl? If it were other cultivators, they might still hesitate for a long time in the face of such a dilemma, but Wei Dongliu is such a flexible person. Without thinking, he blurted out, "Find a female prisoner to die in her place, and announce the canonical punishment to the outside world to appease the public anger. Imprison her in a secret place privately, and ask her father to devote himself to the human race. If he slacks off, kill this girl to scare him." Chapter 714 Flexible. After hearing Wei Dongliu's answer, Master Shinryu fell silent. In the past, cultivators who did this question either insisted on killing without mercy or thought that they should let people go for the sake of the overall situation. Those who insisted on killing people were basically directly judged as losers, because the city lord in history did rebel because of the death of his beloved daughter, and the human race spent a lot of money to kill him. In this world of cultivation, strength is often king, and laws and morals are only used to restrain the weak. If the answer is to let people go, then Master Shinryu will ask, what about the relatives of the victims? What about the surging public opinion? After all, many times, everyone just wants to see the killing of people and justice. As for how much it costs to uphold justice, everyone doesn't care so much. Therefore, if the tester is speechless, it is still a failure. But if he can point out the essence of people's hearts are not reliable, or hypocritically say a few words let the people suffer more, then Master Shinryu will count him as a pass for this question. It's just that he never thought that Wei Dongliu would give such an answer. Neither killing nor releasing him, just locking him up, hanging the Lord of Donglei City, and then squeezing out his value. Although it sounds simple, thinking about it carefully gives you a sense of breaking out of the rut and suddenly becoming enlightened, and thinking about it more deeply gives you a chill. The plan is a good one, but this person, if he could think hard for a few minutes and then come up with an answer, it would be fine. He spoke so directly without thinking, which shows that his mind is extremely flexible, which makes it difficult to evaluate. It's clever, but it's ultimately righteous. Shinryu Kinjin was silent for a long time, and thought it would be better to give him 82 points. You passed this question, and look at the next one. He led Wei Dongliu to continue moving forward, through the long and gloomy corridor, and soon arrived at the second prison. There was a young man sitting in the prison, also with disheveled hair, but he was treated a little better than the previous one. He didn't have an iron chain through his scapula, but he was wearing leg cuffs and handcuffs, which made it difficult for him to move. This man is of mixed blood. His father is a human and his mother is a high-ranking member of the demon tribe. Shinryu Kinjin said expressionlessly, after much effort, we finally persuaded him to be a spy and spy on the demon tribe's military intelligence for us. After much effort, he finally got an important intelligence from his mother. We acted according to this intelligence, but ended up being ambushed and suffered heavy losses. He was imprisoned for suspected treason, but he always claimed that the intelligence was given by his mother, and he did not delete or modify it himself, nor did he intend to deceive the human race. Let me ask you, how should this man be dealt with? Wei Dongliu was silent for a moment, and asked, after getting the intelligence, didn't you distinguish the truth from the false? Of course I did. Shin Yu's Hinjin was a little embarrassed and defended himself, but intelligence, true or false, can never be verified 100%. Aren't you a master of arithmetic? If arithmetic can solve everything, then what is the point of spies? What you said makes some sense. Wei Dongliu thought for a moment and answered directly, just send a letter to his mother and tell her that your son has been secretly communicating with the demon clan and has caused heavy losses to our human race. We are planning to execute your son first. If you don't want him to die, you must pay enough to redeem him. Is it that simple? Shin Yu's Hinjin was slightly stunned. Since his mother released him back with false information, she must have already stopped taking his life seriously, right? The information must be false. Wei Dongliu nodded and said, the question is whether this person knew about the false information. In other words, did he and his mother collude to deliberately give false information to the human race? Or did his mother see through his intentions and deliberately keep him in the dark? Shin Yu's Hinjin pondered, go on. In fact, the former is unlikely. Wei Dongliu continued, if this person knew that it was false information, but completely disregarded his own safety and gave it to the human race as if nothing had happened, wouldn't it be tantamount to seeking death? Let me ask you, after giving the human race the information, did he try to escape? No. Shin Yu's Hinjin sighed, until we caught him, he didn't show any abnormality. So we just need to see his mother's reaction. Wei Dongliu said calmly, if his mother is willing to pay the price to redeem him, it means that he is indeed suspected of collaborating with the enemy. Then kill him. Shin Yu's Hinjin nodded. Why kill him? Wei Dongliu asked strangely, as long as the price is high, it doesn't matter if his mother redeems him. Anyway, you already know that this person is a spy. What harm will it cause if he lives? Shin Yu's Hinjin was speechless. After discovering a spy, immediately punish him. Isn't this the default way for normal people to deal with such things? Redeem him, it's not that it's impossible. After all, killing him can't make up for the loss. Letting the other party redeem him can still make some money. It just sounds a bit strange. Why can you be so flexible? What if his mother refuses to redeem him? Shin Yu's Hinjin continued to ask. Easy to handle. Wei Dongliu clapped his hands and said, show him his mother's reply and let him know that his mother has no intention of saving him. If this person has no expression on his face and accepts it calmly, it means that he has long known that he will die, so he can be executed. If this person is desperate, angry, and fearful, and deeply hates his mother for not saving him, it means that he really knows nothing about the false information, so keep his life. Maybe he can be useful in the future. What use? Shin Yu's Hinjin asked curiously. Are you asking me this too? Wei Dongliu looked at him strangely. I don't know the specific situation of your human army, and where he can be used. Isn't this something you should weigh for yourself? Ahem, I know. Shin Yu's Hinjin coughed awkwardly a few times and said, well, so first use the strategy of alienation. If this person is successfully alienated, it means that he is not aware of his mother's plan and has not betrayed. As for whether to execute or keep it, it depends on the specific situation. When he said this, he was suddenly a little stunned. What did we do in the first place? Oh, it seems that he was executed directly. After all, he brought back false information and caused heavy losses to the human army. If you think about it carefully, it is not necessary to execute him. Anyway, this person is already a fish on the table. We can handle it skillfully and squeeze out the last bit of his value calmly. Flexible, too flexible. I heard that fellow Taoist is the head of a sect outside. Shin Yu's Hinjin suddenly asked. I said before that I am the master of the mortal duo. Wei Dongliu replied. Yes. Shin Yu's Hinjin secretly took note, thinking that this master is really a flexible person. If he could be born in our time, he would definitely shine in the confrontation between the human race and the alien race. Chapter 715. I, the great demon Lord Wei, can't be defeated. Does this mean I got the answer right? Wei Dongliu said with a straight face. Doya, please be patient. Shin Yu's Hinjin smiled a little and said, let's go to the next question. He led Wei Dongliu forward and came to the next prison. In the prison, a man and a woman sat opposite each other, each silent. These two were husband and wife. Shinayushingen introduced both the newcomers of the human race, and they originally had a promising future, but one of them had an affair with the demon race, causing great losses to the human race. Let me ask. Wait, Liu said, why are so many people having an affair with the demon race? Was the human race in your era so poor in racial cohesion? You're in a cesspool, so you can only smell strange stinky things. Shinayushingen said leisurely, the object transformed here is the heavy prison of the human race in that era. Who do you think you can meet here? Let's not talk about this. Wait, Liu calmly changed the subject. Next, you want to ask me how to deal with these two people? That's not the case. Shinayushingen nodded and said, tell me, how to confirm which of these two people is having an affair with the demon race? Wait, Liu pondered for a moment, and suddenly asked, what is the relationship between these two people? For some reason, when Shinayushingen heard this question, he was shocked and felt a little uncomfortable. It was a premonition that he was about to be lowered again. Love is stronger than gold, he said with a long sigh. That's easy. Wait, Liu nodded, accused both of them of having an affair with the demons, and then imprisoned them separately. Whether it's torture or acting, they have to scream so that the Taoist partner on the other side can hear it. The screams have to be miserable and terrifying, the kind that people can't bear to hear. I see. Shinayushingen stroked his beard and said slowly, in order to make their partners suffer less, the two will definitely rush to confess and take the blame on themselves. No matter who the innocent one is, as long as they have not had an affair with the demons, they will definitely make up nonsense when they confess. Wait, Liu said calmly, in this way, it will be easy to distinguish between loyalty and treachery. Very good, let's look at the next question. Shinayushingen took him to move on and came to the next prison. In the prison, there was a dejected woman sitting, with drooping shoulders and listless. This person is just an ordinary cultivator. Shinayushingen said indifferently, she spreads negative comments in the rear and disrupts our army's morale. How should we deal with her? It's very simple. Wait, Liu said calmly, what we need to do is to calm down the negative public opinion, not just to eliminate the source. We can announce to the public that we will punish her and see who will come out to speak up for her. We can also indulge them and let these people show up more and more. Finally, we can catch them all in one fell swoop, and the sea will be peaceful and the river will be clear from then on. Shinayushingen stroked his beard, saying nothing on his face, but he was pleased in his heart. The two entered the next prison and saw a woman sitting in the prison, her face pale and her expression terrified. This person is not a cultivator, but an ordinary person. Shinayushingen said calmly, she picked up the corpse of our cultivator after he died, and took the bag as a treasure and took it for herself. What should we do if she is found by patrolling cultivators? It's easy. Wait, Liu smiled slightly, and announced to the public that this mortal encountered the corpse of a cultivator, buried it, and then went to his sect to inform him, and handed over all the treasures in the bag without any money. The sect was moved by her sincerity and gave her the elixir of immortality and the magic of turning stones into gold, and she returned home in glory. Finally, she was used as a positive example, and storytellers were asked to write a story and spread it all over the streets and alleys. Shinayushingen pulled his beard, still silent on his face, but he admired her repeatedly in his heart. The two entered the next prison, only to see a handsome man sitting in the prison, sighing and looking ashen. This person is an ordinary cultivator. Although his cultivation is not high, he is used to flirting with women and is best at deceiving women. Shinayushingen said slowly, he traveled to many sects, learned that he was unmarried, and formed Taoist couples with various female cultivators, nuns, and female Taoists. Among them are daughters of sect leaders. After the incident, many sects were in an uproar, felt ashamed, and demanded severe punishment. How should we deal with him? This person has such talent. Wait, Liu had a surprised look on his face. We should find that magic power of illusion, let him infiltrate the monster clan, hook up with various powerful monster women, and turn his talent into an advantage for the human race. Wouldn't it be wonderful? Shinayushingen finally couldn't hold it in anymore, clapped his hands and laughed. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. So, is this over? Wait, Liu asked calmly. It's over, it's over. Master Shinai waved his hand and said with a smile, what a pity, if you were born in that era, you would definitely shine brightly. Master, how do you know that I can't shine like the sun and the moon at this time and place? Wait, Liu asked with a frown. Indeed. Master Shinai thought that this man was already the master of the sect, not an unknown person, and that what he said just now is inappropriate. According to the previous agreement, the position in my hand is yours. Come with me. Wei Dongliu said nothing and continued to follow Master Shnyu, passing through the long and deep corridor. In the blink of an eye, he left the dungeon and came to the bottom of Lingtine Pavilion. When he entered the attic, he saw Qiu Changtai sitting inside with a silent expression. Zisu and Shilili were on the left and right, staring at each other. Why was I so cowardly in the past? Wei Dongliu was in a good mood at this time, and his momentum was high. He looked at himself who was timid in front of his two wives, and he was really disgusted. He released his evil spirit and suppressed Zisu and Shilili who were looking at each other. Zisu was stimulated by his evil spirit and subconsciously wanted to draw his sword, but he finally endured it. The process after that will not be repeated. After the 12 people gathered, Wei Dongliu looked around and saw 8 people from the Orthodox Church, so there was no need to mention them. The 4 people from the Demon Church were himself, Wen Yang, Mogyu and Lin Yun. That is, there were 2 people from the Invido, 1 person from the Fanshindo, and 1 person from the Tianmodo. The weakest monks from the Donghuangdo and Shirudo acted as the atmosphere group this time, and the focus was on participation. Everyone left the Golden Secret Realm as it happened in the original timeline. Outside, there was a battle between immortals and demons, killing in the dark, but there was no blood flowing into the river. Wei Dongliu grabbed Yuo Jin with his backhand, wrapped him with a sword, and rushed towards the Blood Sea ancestor. On the way, the old thief Changmei wanted to kill him with the Liangyi microdust sword formation, but was blocked by the old ancestor's Yuhei with a rolling blood river, which completely annihilated the endless sword energy. Looking at the other demon monks, they also went to the direction of the immortals. The old thief Kisun fought against the ancestors Izahir. The Kaiban Kung long sleeves released endless wind and thunder, but were blocked by the black mist sprayed from the opponent's throat, and could not move forward. The old thief Wang Xiang faced the venerable Bergyu, and threw a lot of dazzling light in his hands, but he couldn't see what kind of magic weapon the light was. It was just that if you look at it too much, you'll go blind. The people fought until the sky collapsed and the earth cracked, the sun and the moon lost their light, and they fought and retreated. Finally, when Shushan and others left, the Blood Sea ancestor raised his hand, asked Wei Dongliu to float out of the Blood Sea, and asked, "What is the result of this trip to the Golden Palace?" The 6 paths got 4 of the 12 main seeds. Wei Dongliu said in a deep voice, "My inferior disciple is incompetent, and the mortal Do can only occupy 1. No problem." The Blood Sea ancestor said with satisfaction, "It's good to occupy 1, I don't ask for more." Wei Dongliu was silent for a moment, and suddenly asked tentatively, "Ancestor, even if we occupy the main seat of the Golden Palace, there is no benefit. What's the point? Although it is of no benefit to you, it is different for us immortals." The Blood Sea ancestor said leisurely, "Don't worry, after you go back, I will have my own reward." Chapter 716 Wei Dongliu's Greatest Crisis, East China Sea, Japan Mountain. The headquarters of the Heavenly Demon Do is isolated overseas, on a deserted island with few people, and all the staff are beautiful female monks. Therefore, fishermen who drift here often think they have mistakenly entered an overseas fairyland. But this beautiful impression will soon be broken. After all, in the eyes of the Heavenly Demon Do monks, mortals are just some kind of consumables for cultivation. Of course, in the eyes of some higher level beings, human monks may also be consumables, but let's not talk about it here for now. In short, there were 3 Heavenly Demon Do monks who entered the Golden Secret Realm, and there were also 3 when they came back. But the ones who entered there were Master Ling Yun and 2 other Jinnan monks, and when they came back, it was Master Zizahir and Master Ling Yun, plus another monk. The remaining other real person probably died in the Secret Realm. Death is so common in the Heavenly Demon Do that the death of a real person did not cause any waves at all. The residence of the Master Zizahir is located in the highest palace on the top of Japan Mountain. Usually, no Heavenly Demon Do cultivated as to enter without permission, for fear that after meeting the Master Zizahir, the other party will casually say, "Great, I'm short of a sacrifice here," and then take them to summon the Heavenly Demon. However, the Master Zizahir has not been offering sacrifices to the Heavenly Demon recently, and the elders who search for sacrifices for him have also become idle. This is of course a good thing, and everyone hopes that it will continue. But if someone enters the palace, they will see that the person lying on the soft couch where the immortals often sleep is not the notorious Master Zizahir, but another young beauty with a slender figure. This beauty is wearing a thin veil, and the smooth curves underneath are thrilling just from a distance, and can't suppress the impulse of the small universe in the body. Her long black hair falls down like a waterfall, spreading on the mattress like a blooming black rose. Under the long hair was white skin as tender fat and smooth as ivory, which rose again along the shoulders, as if it was a masterpiece carefully drawn by the creator. Sister. Another group of black mist rushed in from outside the palace door, transformed into a slender young girl, and threw herself into the arms of the beauty on the couch. It's over, I've been looking for my brother-in-law in the secret realm for a long time, but I can't find the shadow of my brother-in-law. My brother-in-law must have been taken away by those beautiful maids of the Golden True Lord. No, he was taken away by the female True Lord of the Golden, and he was secretly having fun somewhere. Glean originally hugged his sister subconsciously, but after hearing her next words, he immediately got up angrily to change his clothes and put on his Taoist robe. HMPH. She said with a frosty face, "Don't say anything, I will ask him myself." Glee, who was full of displeasure, turned into black mist and soared into the sky. He rushed all the way from Japan Mountain to Utai Mountain. When he arrived at the residence of the Fanxingdu sect, he saw Wei Dongliu sitting in the room, practicing some difficult magic skills. Black air followed his breathing and drilled in and out between his mouth and nose. This method was given by the Bloodsea ancestor, called 5 internal organs blood corpse filth method, which can greatly enhance the filthy characteristics of the demonic energy. When practiced to a high level, as long as the demonic energy is contaminated with the opponent's flying sword or magic weapon, it can be directly polluted, and the spiritual light will not be visible, and there will be no induction at all. The most important thing is that this method is almost impossible to crack unless it is used against a magic weapon that specifically restrains it, such as the Dongfang Guangjin glass lamp. Husband. Glean put away her angry expression, put on a sweet smile again, and threw herself into his arms deliberately. Did you miss me? Wei Dongliu was practicing to a high level at this time, and was interrupted by Glean's beautiful woman in his arms. His true energy was reversed and he almost vomited blood. However, he was a first-grade golden elixir after all, and his danton was extremely strong, so he did not suffer much internal injury. He just opened his eyes indifferently and said, "Get out." Glean was not willing to listen, so he lay on him and drew circles, pretending to be about to cry. "It's only a few days since I last saw you, and your husband dislikes me so much." Wei Dongliu was not fooled at all, and just pushed him away roughly, but he didn't push it away, because Glean had already hugged his arms. Although it was clamped by soft jade and warm fragrance, as long as he pulled it out hard, he could feel as if he was pressed by thousands of tons of cotton layers, and he couldn't pull it out at all. Unable to compete in terms of strength, Wei Dongliu could only patiently say, "My wife, it's not that I don't miss you, but the Golden Palace secret realm has a lot of important things to do. I have been busy with this recently and have no time to take care of other things." "Really?" Glean wiped away her tears and asked coquettishly, "Then did you see other women in the secret realm?" "No." "Really not?" "Really not." "Liar." Glean pouted, "Aren't you going to accept the test of the True Lord?" If it were another woman pouting, it would probably only make men feel artificial and annoying, but this witch's expression was just right, showing the girl's playfulness and charm, which made Wei Dongliu's previous unhappiness dissipate a lot. "I met the True Lord, but the True Lord is a man," he answered patiently. "Then tell me, what is the Taoist name of the True Lord?" Glean was relentless. "Shen Yu." "Oh, it's that old man." "Madam, do you know him?" "No." Glean smiled again. "It just sounds like the old man's Taoist name." "How can you guess his age just by listening to his Taoist name?" Wei Dongliu hadn't finished speaking when Glean threw him down again. The witch rode on him, stretched out a slender jade finger like green onion, pointed at his nose and said, "Husband, changed for me." Wei Dongliu. It took him a long time to react before he realized what the wife meant, and then he changed into a red-haired and double-pupiled appearance. It's strange to say, before she recovered her memory of the heavenly demon, she was not very interested in Wei Dongliu's human identity, but she liked his appearance as a demon king very much, thinking that red hair and double pupils were very cool and different from ordinary people. After regaining the body of the heavenly demon, Glean liked his human appearance even more, and just looking at him gave her the evil taste of bullying and playing with him. As for his body as a demon lord, it gave the witch a kind of green and throbbing feeling of first love. This is another experience. The great freedom demon likes human emotions, of course, including the special experience brought by special actions. Since Wei Dongliu claimed that he wanted to retain his Yuanyang for cultivation, Glean did not force him too much, but it was not because he respected his intention, but because he just felt that the big meal should be eaten last. However, because they had not seen each other for a long time recently, she felt that she could not help it. She naturally pressed Wei Dongliu's neck with both hands, and then slid down gently and slowly opened his clothes. The witch licked her lips with her tongue, making her lips more vivid. Wei Dongliu, who was still a little dazed, suddenly woke up when he saw his wife so charming. Wait, a Jing and Kingpin are still watching. He hurriedly wanted to push Jianglin away and get up, but the demon held his hands down and pressed him back on the bed. Husband wants to escape? Jianglin put her mouth close to Wei Dongliu's ear and asked with a low smile, her voice becoming more and more charming. Do you think you can escape? Chapter 717. Donghuan Demon Realm, Eve of War. Load the file. Load the file, load the file, load the file. Under Wei Dongliu's continuous urging, Kunlun Mirror finally loaded the file slowly. Point 5. Donghuan Realm, Dongzhou, Daguan Wilderness. Character Identity. Lunglong. Mirror Flower Water Moon template overwritten, in the process of time and space shuttle. In Donghuan Realm, the wave of war has swept in. With the invasion of the White Tiger clan on the southwest border of Bizhou, the Cunning camp and the Black Tortoise camp finally broke out in a full-scale conflict. These two once close political allies finally showed their claws and fangs, ready to tear each other apart. In addition to the fierce conflict between Shizhou and Bizhou, Zhongzhou and Nanzhou were also at war again. A large number of Horn clan monks went south from Zhongzhou, and their troops headed straight for Wujiang City. This city is an important city on the northern border of Nanzhou. If Wujiang City falls into the hands of Kalin, then going south can go straight into the Liang He lane, and the defensive pressure of the Feather clan will increase by nearly 1,000 times. Since the Dragon clan and the Vermilion Bird had signed a secret alliance, the monk army where Long Long was located was also urgently transferred to Wujiang City to rescue the allies. Long Long, Long Yu, Qin Zhao, Qin Yi, and the relatives and descendants of other Dragon clan elders were all placed in one of the teams, which was a veritable prince team. Although the Great Elder personally led the team for protection, after all, there was no way on the battlefield, so Long Long could only take Long Yu with him and told her not to leave him too far. The crowd set out from the southern border of Dongzhou, crossed the 3-foot mountain and entered Nanzhou. Soon, monks from the Golden Crow clan came and led everyone to the west. The Great Elder asked these Feather clan monks about the situation and knew that Nanzhou was currently at a disadvantage, mainly because the Kaling clan was coming very quickly, and the Vermilion Bird was quite caught off guard. However, the Feather clan has a fierce temperament and is best at fighting against the wind. The more disadvantaged they are, the crazier they are. Now that the war situation north of Wujiang City has gradually stabilized, there is no need to worry about Wujiang City being broken in the short term. The only problem is that because they have to guard against the invasion of the White Tiger of Western Province at the same time, Thu now has to deploy heavy troops in the northwest, which makes it impossible to deal with Zhongzhou with all its strength. This is the biggest disadvantage of engaging the enemy on two fronts. After setting up camp at the location where they were about to enter the Two Rivers Plain, the Great Elder called everyone to his side and said, "I think the elders in the tribe have already told you about this trip. We are not going out for sightseeing this time, but to make meritorious deeds in the war so that you can accumulate prestige and qualifications in the tribe. Next, we will go to Wujiang City. Wujiang City is close to the front line against Zhongzhou, and there are a large number of Horn clan monks infiltrating around it. Our goal is to kill as many of these monks as possible. Remember to take off the horns of every monk you kill as proof of military merit after the war. Of course, military affairs are always unpredictable. Perhaps someone will die because of this, and it is unknown whether the body will become proof of merit for others. If you want to quit now, you can find me privately. I will place him in the rear." After saying that, the Great Elder left, leaving everyone looking at each other in bewilderment. The team rested for a night on the east side of the Two Rivers Plain and prepared to officially enter the battlefield tomorrow. Even at night, the sound of wind and thunder could still be heard in the distance. It was probably the sound of the Golden Wind Rock of the Feather tribe attacking and bombing the monks of the Horn tribe from the air. Long Long couldn't sleep a little, so he left the tent and went outside. These tents are specially made magic tools that can shield the scanning of spiritual consciousness and the spread of breath, so in theory it is safest to stay in the tent. However, this place is far away from the battlefield, and Long Long is confident in his scanning ability, so he came out to get some fresh air. After a while, Long also came out of the tent. Seeing Long Long standing on the hill, he went over and asked curiously, "Long Long, don't you want to sleep?" Long Long smiled embarrassedly, which was considered as a tacit agreement. After the human cultivators fasted, they replaced eating with breathing and replaced sleeping with meditation. After all, Long Long's 4 trumpets were all human, so he had long lost the habit of sleeping at night. But the demon tribe did not have the tradition of meditation, so in Long Hu's view, not sleeping at night was indeed a strange thing. It could only be attributed to the fact that he would go to the battlefield tomorrow, so the psychological pressure was too great. So the little fox hugged Long Long from behind, stood on tiptoe, raised her arms, gently touched his head, and said, "Don't be afraid. Long Long, Sister Fox will protect you." "You protect me?" Long Long laughed. "I have already reached the great perfection of the golden core realm root-seeking stage. In the words of the demon clan, it means that the transformation realm has been cultivated by 2/3. You, a little demon who has just transformed, also come to protect me." However, the dragon fox knew how to comfort herself, which really warmed Long Long's heart. So he picked up the little fox and let her sit in his arms, and then continued to look at the 2 river plains in the distance. The dragon fox felt a little cold in the wind, so he wrapped his furry tail around Long Long's neck a little tighter, fearing that he would be cold. After all, the scales are all cold-blooded animals. Long Long was wearing this fox-tail scarf, thinking how great it would be if Witch Jing could be as gentle and considerate as a fox. Don't push and ride at every turn. I'm a soft person, not a hard one, do you know? Suddenly, there was a slight sound of tents opening and closing behind them. Long Long turned around and saw the great elder leading 2 people out of the tent, and then they flew directly to the south. "I recognize those 2 people," Long Hu said. "I think they are planning to escape from the battlefield." "It's not really escaping from the battlefield," Long Long said leisurely. "They didn't want to participate in the war in the first place, but they were forced by the elders of the tribe. Now that the great elder has given them a way out, they naturally hurried to get out of it." At this point, both of them fell silent. Others can give up, but they can't give up, because the 2 of them will rebel against the Dragon Clan one day and flee to the Beiming Fanyan north of the Bizhou. At the time, they will inevitably be hunted down by the Kanglong and Chuan clans. Therefore, going to the battlefield in advance to hone their fighting experience is also something they have to do. "Let's go back and rest," Long Long suddenly said. "Well, okay," Long Hu nodded first, and when Long Long carried her to the tent, she suddenly reacted. "Wait, where are we going to rest?" "Of course, I'm going to rest in my tent." Long Long smiled. "But," Long Hu said in panic and shyness, "they are all in the surrounding tents." "Then why don't you just not make any noise later?" Long Long's smile became more evil, and he ignored the little fox's struggle and carried her into the tent. As soon as he entered the tent, he saw Qinyi, the little female dragon, sitting on the bed, with his hands folded on his knees, looking at him calmly. Long Hu. Both of them felt that they were caught on the spot, and they only heard Qinyi say with a smile, "Brother Long Long, I just entered your tent and found no one. I thought something happened and almost went to inform the elder. The battlefield is next, so you can't run around at night, okay? Otherwise, if you are caught by someone, whether it is an enemy or a friend, it will be really bad, don't you think? If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Mundo Fanfic Novelers, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelers. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 718. Guerrilla Warfare. I almost told the elder. The subtext is, if you keep messing around like this, I will tell the elder. As for who the elder will side with after knowing the truth, Qinyi is a pure-blooded Kanglong clan, while Long Hu is just a mixed-blood demon clan, so it goes without saying. The little fox showed a panicked look, while Long Long smiled slightly and said, "Qinyi, I believe you won't." "Why not?" Qinyi tried to raise his chin and pretended to be arrogant. "Because the Qinyi I know is not someone who would betray his friends to the elders of the clan," Long Long said with a smile. Qinyi was stunned on the spot when he heard this, and his heart was immediately in a mess. The Qinyi he knew was not that kind of person. Then what about me in his heart? Wait, doesn't this mean that he has me in his heart? Thinking of this, Qinyi felt her face getting hot, and she could no longer sit still. She jumped up as if on fire, and stammered, I'll go first." When she came to the door of the tent, Qinyi suddenly remembered something, turned around and said, "Before getting married, don't do anything messy." After that, she left in a hurry. Long Long and Long Hu looked at each other for a moment, and then they both breathed a sigh of relief. "What mess?" Long Long laughed in his heart. "Am I the kind of person? I'm a human, not a demon." Since we are destined not to be together forever, why bother to have a child and let the fox feel sad in the future? TSK, TSK, TSK. Jim couldn't bear to watch it, and sneered, if you don't have a child, you don't have to take responsibility, but what about cheating on your feelings? Isn't that part of your responsibility? Where is cheating on your feelings? Long asked in surprise, we're just in a normal relationship, and one day in the future, we have to separate from each other because of life choices. I see. Jim said coldly. This scumbag is deceiving himself again. When that time comes, it can't be solved by saying I'm sorry, I'm human. Based on Jim's understanding of Dragon Fox, she is so affectionate, how could she care about the difference in race? Even if you run to the ends of the earth, I will chase you. But why this scumbag wants to run away, Jing also knows it very well. If he stays, what will happen to junior sisters Yu, senior sister Anne, Lady Lily and Witch Jiang? Run as much as you want. If you can run away, Jing, will take your surname. Dragon Fox didn't know what Long was thinking, she just said shyly. Then I'll go first, otherwise the Great Elder will come over later. She hugged Long again, kissed him on the lips, then turned around and left quickly. Long touched his mouth, as if he was savoring the touch just now, and after a long time, he felt lost and sighed. The next morning, the Dragon team set out again. Everyone kept a tacit understanding about the fact that there were too fewer people in the team, and no one asked anything. Everyone entered the Two Rivers Plain and quickly chose a river, using water escape techniques. While walking on the riverbed, the Great Elder King Kan was also passing on various fighting experiences to the young dragons. Excuse me, Elder. A little dragon asked curiously, can't we fly in the clouds? Why do we have to move forward under the water? If we fly in the air, our vision will be wider, right? Yes, but don't forget. King Kan replied, when you fly in the air, you can see enemies farther away, and the enemies can also see you from a long distance. The Horn clan is good at walking, and can use the art of traveling thousands of miles. It's no problem to travel 1,000 miles a day. If we encounter Horn clan troops in an open area and can't fight quickly, we will soon be surrounded by the continuous reinforcements and eventually be trapped and killed on the spot. Considering that the Feather clan is good at flying, the Horn clan must have air defense means, so taking the water route to hide traces is a better choice. I see. Long thought, what if it's the other way round? If our Dragon clan wants to hunt down the Horn clan, how should the Horn clan hide? King Kan was very satisfied with his inference thinking, so he pointed out to him. The Dragon clan is good at flying in the clouds. Flying and water escape are all our strengths. That is to say, neither water nor land is suitable for travel, so there is only one way left. Earth escape. Earth escape? In other words, traveling underground. Long and Longu secretly noted it down, and heard King Kan continue to say. The war between us cultivators is completely different from those of monsters. The war between monsters, to put it bluntly, is nothing more than the majority against the minority. But cultivators have no logistical restrictions, and the form of war is often more brutal. Take the area near Wujiang City as an example. The Feather clan is on the defensive, so they gathered their army in Wujiang City, relying on the formations, prohibitions and many means in the city to cause huge casualties to the attackers. The Horn clan is the attacker, and storming Wujiang City is a bad strategy. Therefore, they dispersed their troops into small groups, infiltrated and destroyed the Two River Plains in the rear, and forced the main force of the Feather clan to leave the city. Do you understand what I mean? King Kan said this, and seeing the little dragons thinking hard, he turned his gaze to Long. Long really lived up to expectations and explained calmly. Whether attacking or defending, we are just trying to play to our strengths. The advantage of the attacker lies in mobility, and the advantage of the defender lies in the terrain. Whoever can force the other side out of the advantageous area will win in the end. So the dragons suddenly realized, and King Kan praised. That's right. The way of the military is nothing more than using one's strengths to attack one's weaknesses, and the war between cultivators has only complicated it, but it has not deviated from the essence of war. As long as the Horn clan chooses to break up into small pieces, the Feather clan will not be able to defend Wujiang City alone, otherwise the entire Two Rivers Plain will be destroyed. The Feather clan will also have to dispatch small forces to intercept and kill these infiltrating Horn clan, but as I said just now, the Horn clan has the art of walking, and they cannot win quickly in close combat. A large number of reinforcements will arrive immediately to fight with more people against fewer. This is why they asked for support from our dragon clan. From now on, all our operations will be based on water escape sneak attacks. Try to end each battle within 10 breaths, and no more than 20 breaths at most. Once you reach 20 breaths, immediately flee along the river and do not stay any longer. Do you understand? Got it. The little dragons responded with full energy. Everyone was confident, only Long Long was a little uneasy. Such a simple truth, once the elder said it, everyone understood it. Wouldn't the Horn clan have thought of it? If they had already made a plan to deal with the water escape sneak attack, how would they counter it specifically? Thinking of this, Long Long looked at the dragon fox again. The elder said that the longest time should not exceed 20 breaths, which was too optimistic. If they really encountered a battle that could not be won quickly, they might have to rely on the fox's illusion to escape 10 breaths in advance. Chapter 719. Calmly walking into the ambush circle, several Horn clan monks were patrolling along the coast. Human monks are used to flying with swords, while demon monks are mostly good at various escape techniques or divine movement methods according to their races. For example, the Feather clan can flap their wings to fly without the help of any magic weapon. The Horn clan is also proficient in the art of thousands of miles at divine movement, which is similar to a certain footwork and can cross a long distance in an instant. Long Long lurked in the depths of the river, watching these Horn clan monks strolling leisurely, with the wind under their feet. Although the burst speed is not as fast as Ling Yunpo and senior sister Ram's dividing cloud back you a step, it is better in terms of less consumption and durability, and it is also a unique way to use it on the road. It's a pity that I can't learn it. There is a blood separation between races, and the secret magic and magical powers are not interoperable. It seems unnecessary to create a Horn clan trumpet alone. He quickly gathered his thoughts and waited for the monks to enter the encirclement before he quickly let out a long dragon roar. The expressions of several Horn clan monks changed drastically. Before they could speed up to escape, the dragon's might pressed down overwhelmingly, making their bodies feel like they were filled with lead water, completely unable to move. There was also a torrent of water rolling out from the rivers, trapping the Horn clan monks from all directions. Finally, several flying swords pierced into the water sharply, like thousands of arrows piercing their hearts, stabbing these Horn clan monks to death. The dragon's might deters the water-based Taoism traps, and then kills with flying swords. This is the quick kill tactic designed by Long Long and his team. The most critical core lies in the dragon's might deterring. As long as they are successfully deterred by the dragon's might, it is almost equivalent to being hit by an illusion, with their bodies out of control and their minds in a trance. Otherwise, these Horn clan monks would not be unable to even fight back, and would just stay stiffly in place and be slaughtered. Long Long's own extremely high bloodline rank is the confidence that he can use the dragon's might to deter these Horn clan monks. In this way, after killing more than 20 Horn clan monks in 5 or 6 rounds, the morale of the little dragons was greatly boosted, and some even laughed and said, "The Horn clan monks are nothing more than this." Long Long felt something was wrong. Looking at King Kang's face, the elder seemed to have noticed something strange, and he was frowning and silent at this time. The first round of sneak attacks could be explained as intentional, but after the second and third rounds, even if the commander behind the Horn clan was a waste, he should have noticed that the frontline troops were disappearing abnormally frequently. Even if you can't think of a way to deal with it, at least send someone to search on a large scale. No. Maybe they are deliberately trying to make us careless, and secretly planning some vicious trap there. Thinking of this, Long Long couldn't sit still. He didn't doubt the strength of the elder King Kang, but what if Kalin also came with the elder to contain King Kang? As a senior spy, Long Long knew that he could not rely on anyone's reliability for his life safety. He immediately called Long Yu, Qin Zhao, Qin Yi and others to discuss privately. "I think something is wrong," he said bluntly. "The Horn clan's reaction is too slow. This is not what they should do after dozens of monks were attacked and killed. I suspect they are planning something." The Qin brothers and sisters looked confused. They had too little experience and could not distinguish the possibility of what Long Long said at this time. Long Yu stood firmly beside Long Long and said, "I also think it is very wrong. Think about it, if this is a trap, the Horn clan must have prepared a very powerful killing move behind it." Although the little fox said it very seriously, he just repeated Long Long's words in a rhythmic manner and did not put forward any new arguments. "I know what you said," Qin Zhao said hesitantly, "but there is no evidence after all, right? If the Horn clan is really planning a killing move against us, then we must tell the Great Elder and others, but if it turns out to be a false alarm in the end, we will become a laughingstock." Young people always like to save face, and most of the companions around them are the descendants of the high-level dragon clan, and friends who can play in the circle. If I startle myself and it turns out that I scared myself, and then this matter is made a joke by them, it is almost equivalent to social death for Qin Zhao. It is better to die on the battlefield. Qin Yi knew what ridiculous things his brother was thinking, and hurriedly said, "Then don't tell them, isn't it? After all, this is just our guess. There is no need to tell everyone, right?" "Great." Long Long almost wanted to applaud Qin Yi. "As for evidence, of course I don't have any evidence. I just made a reasonable and careful guess based on the current situation. When it's time to run away, I'm afraid you won't be able to react, so I just reminded you casually. But you're thinking about notifying the whole team to do something. If what I said is true, you should think more about how to escape." Qin Zhao was still a little hesitant, but he couldn't refute it after all, so he simply didn't answer. Although everyone began to be vigilant, there was indeed no evidence as Qin Zhao said, so they all acted as if nothing had happened and continued to play their roles in the team. After a few days, the number of Horn Clan monks killed had exceeded 30, and the confidence of the little dragons was almost overflowing. Some even proposed to continue to conduct counter-infiltration to the north and harass and kill the main force of the Horn Clan monks. This kind of joking guerrilla tactics behind enemy lines was of course not agreed by Qin Kang. The guerrilla tactics must be based on a high degree of familiarity with the environment. If the Culling clan attacks Dongzhou, they can still play guerrilla warfare with the advantage of fighting on the Dragon clan's home turf. However, this is Nanzhou, which is also unfamiliar to the Dragon clan. They may not be as familiar with it as the Horn clan, after all, they fight with the Feather clan every year. In addition, the monks have no supply lines, so infiltrating behind enemy lines is even more meaningless. Although he felt it was ridiculous, Long Long did not speak up in the team to refute it, because he vaguely realized that the optimism in that team was a bit too much. Is this what the commander behind the Horn clan wants to see? The situation is not right. Qin Kang also sensed the unusual danger. "Let's retreat." "Ah? Why?" The little dragons were not happy. The journey was smooth sailing, so much so that everyone had the illusion that I can do it without the Great Elder, and they all began to persuade. "Great Elder. Morale is high now, but why do we have to retreat? Great Elder, don't you know the principle of one push and one pull, then a pull? If we haven't encountered a strong enemy, how can we explain to our allies in the Feather Clan if we rashly retreat to the rear?" Although there were many opinions, the core idea was to continue to stay on the battlefield and make merit. Qin Kang said decisively, "Retreat immediately. You have no right to speak here." The Great Elder Kang Long became angry, and relying on his many years of prestige in the clan, he forced everyone to bow their heads and obey his orders. Everyone turned around and swam southward for a long time, and suddenly heard a loud noise from afar. Earthquake? With the help of his foresight, Long Long discovered that the river banks on both sides were collapsing under the violent vibration, completely blocking the waterway in front. Sure enough, there is a trap. Chapter 720 Long Long's Escape Plan. Most ordinary earthquakes have only one epicenter. However, under Long Long's scanning, the epicenters within the range were densely packed, almost completely surrounding the dragon team on all sides. God knows how many Horn Clan monks are ambushing around. The rapidly collapsing earth and rocks caused a dam in the river, blocking the dragon team's waterway. The elder Qin Kang quickly revealed his true form of a blue dragon, and then he mobilized his whole body's true energy, and quickly sprayed out a huge light blue water column with a thickness of dozens of feet from his mouth, like a cannon, shooting at the dammed earth and rocks. Blue dragons are different from Jielongs. In addition to the water magic that the dragons are naturally good at, they also have outstanding attainments in wood magic. When the blue water sprayed on the rocks, it was like the boiling water hitting butter, and it quickly melted it to create a path. The erosion effect of this geometry technique seemed to have been cultivated to a very high level by the Elder. The other little dragons were immediately inspired and rushed to the gap opened by the Great Elder. Long Long, however, looked stern and quickly pulled Long, Qin Zhao and Qin Yi, saying, "Follow me." He decisively turned around and swam to the deeper part of the river. Long followed without hesitation, and the Qin siblings hesitated for a moment, thinking that Long Long had already predicted what was happening, so they subconsciously followed in a hurry. The four of them quickly came to the deepest part of the river, and only heard Long Long say, "Fan." Long quickly took out the golden crow true fire fan and urged the true essence to fan it towards the riverbed. If it were an ordinary fire magic weapon, even if it could be activated in the deep water of the river, the effect would be greatly reduced. But the golden crowtrue fire is not an ordinary fire, and it is not afraid of ordinary water, and it also has a miraculous effect in melting soil and rocks. Back then, in the depths of the 3-foot mountain range, the two used this golden crowtrue fire fan to melt all the soil and rocks that buried the arch ruins. Countless flames swept down, and quickly burned a huge deep hole at the bottom of the river. The vast river water around not only did not extinguish the golden crowtrue fire, but also helped to eliminate the sound and light aftermath of the spell. Even though the Horn clan monks outside saw a large number of bubbles rolling out in the turbulent waves, they could not detect anything unusual. Go in quickly. Long Long turned into a dragon, measured the depth of the cave with his body, and immediately urged. Everyone hurried into the cave, and Long Long immediately slapped out a heavy and fierce dragon tail, directly collapsing the entrance of the cave. So the narrow cave fell into complete darkness. Qin Zhao and Qin Yi, brother and sister, were feeling uneasy, and suddenly saw a little light come on. It was the little fox who lit the Dongfang Wanjin glass lamp. Long Long took the lamp from her hand and said, "Keep digging down, don't stop." Okay. The dragon fox continued to drive the golden crowtrue fire fan, and began to melt the soil and rocks deep inside and dig. Everyone continued to follow that dragon fox downwards. Every time they went a certain distance deeper, Long Long would blow up the passageway and erase the traces. Seeing Long Long being so cautious, the Qin brothers and sisters thought about it and slowly figured out their current situation. First of all, since the Horn clan had thought of using earth magic to create a large-scale earthquake to block them, they certainly would not have expected that the blockage would be forcibly opened. Maybe this is what the military strategists call the three-sided and one-sided method to lure them into the next trap. Probably because of this, King Khan did not stop them. This elder was at the bottom of the river nearby, covering the evacuation of the dragon monks in the team. If he hadn't discovered that Long Long and others had secretly left the team and secretly dug a hole at the bottom of the river, it would have been a strange thing. Secondly, the Horn clan is proficient in the art of traveling thousands of miles, and is also very sensitive to the fluctuations of earth magic. But Long Long asked the dragon fox to use a spell inspired by a fire magic weapon, and it was covered by the river water. In addition, the attention of the Horn clan must be mainly on the dragons who broke out outside, so the possibility of noticing this place suddenly became much smaller. Finally, there is the question of how to get out. Whether in the air or on the ground, it is impossible to completely hide the traces. Originally, everyone chose the water route, but it is almost universally known that the dragons are good at water escape. As the Horn clan accurately captured their position, it is no longer safe to continue to escape by water. But if you can dig a passage from the ground without the help of the earth escape technique, there is a high probability that the Horn clan will not expect it, and the possibility of survival will be greatly increased. Thinking of the fact that Long Long had asked the elder Qin Khan about this question when they were traveling, and got the answer of earth escape, the Qin brothers and sisters were full of admiration. It is estimated that at the time, he was making a plan for the current earth escape method, right? Everyone dug a tunnel underground. Although the speed of travel was not slow at the help of the power of the golden crowtrue fire fan, it was definitely not as fast as the speed of movement on the ground. And it is difficult to tell the direction underground, and not knowing north, south, east and west is another big problem. If they finally escaped from the encirclement, but found that the outside was not a waterway but a plain, if they continued to move forward, they would be in danger of being discovered by the patrolling Horn clan monks nearby. Unless they dug out the two rivers plain directly from the ground, this was of course impossible, and it was not a burrowing technique, so the speed was not that fast. Although it was still unclear how to escape later, the Qin brothers and sisters inexplicably gained confidence as long as they thought that Long Long had probably made a plan in advance. As for the dragon fox, as long as the fox followed Long Long, it would be worry-free and confident wherever it went. So the burden of the entire team's escape fell heavily on Long Long's shoulders. He had to scan the surroundings to confirm that no Horn clan monks noticed the abnormality at the bottom of the river, and at the same time confirm the remaining true energy of the little fox, and even took turns with her to drive the magic weapon, fighting for each other's time to restore and replenish the true energy. From time to time, he also had to exert psychological hints on a large scale to ensure that everything was foolproof. He was simply too busy. Fortunately, the Horn clan monks on the ground were all focused on hunting down the dragon clan team that escaped from the waterway. The great elder Qin Khan also used all kinds of magic to attract the attention of the surrounding enemies, so he had no time to use his spiritual sense to scan the depths of the riverbed. In this way, they dug down for about a few hundred feet. At this distance, it was basically beyond the limit of the Horn clan monk's spiritual sense scanning, and Long Long was relieved. Next, it was to continue digging horizontally to get out of the encirclement, and then locate any Nanzhao River and dig vertically, 670 feet south and west. Continue to go down for a depth of 700 feet, there is a huge space. Kunlun Mirror suddenly said. Huge space. The first thing that popped up in Long Long's mind was the wide bone temple built underground in the past. It is well known that any ruins with hidden entrances that are difficult to be found, or built in remote places such as underground, deep sea, and air, often have good things inside. After all, the easily discovered ruins have basically been taken by the predecessors. So should we go explore or not? Long Long hesitated for only half a breath, and immediately made a decision. Of course. The reason is also very simple. There are so many Horn clan monks outside searching for the Dragon clan, wouldn't it be asking for trouble if we go out now? I'm also thinking about everyone. Chapter 721 Long Long's speech skill. In the silent underground space, dust suddenly fell from the top of the cave. Then, the melted soil fell like a thick lava flow. A head popped out of the large hole that was burned. His eyes quickly swept down and took in the entire cave. Then he said in a surprised tone, "There is actually an underground cave here." Then, another head popped out from his armpit. Really? The little fox was also shocked. What a big space. Her ears moved curiously, tickling Long Long's neck. Then came out the siblings Qin Zhao and Qin Yi, and they looked down in surprise. This doesn't look like it was formed naturally. Qin Yi said, "Look at the traces below." Long Long followed her gaze and looked down, and saw a huge, flat ramp near the edge of the bottom of the cave. If it were other monsters, they probably wouldn't know what this meant, but except for the dragon fox, the four people at the scene almost understood it instantly. Those were the traces of the scales crawling. The scales are all over the body of the scales. When crawling, small gravel and stones are often stuck in the gaps between the scales by vibration, which is very uncomfortable. Therefore, in the area where the scales live, there are often more roads and fewer steps, and the small gravel and stones are removed in advance. In the cave below, the circle of ramps is not only flat and has no edges and corners, but also clean and without any gravel and stones, indicating that the scales must have lived here for a long time. "Are we going down, Long Long?" Long Lu asked excitedly. She saw that at the end of the ramp, there was a corner of a cave passage. Obviously, this underground cave is not the end here, and there is another world in the depths. Long Long just said a sentence, and suddenly said in surprise, everyone retrieved immediately and keep quiet. Although everyone didn't understand, Long Long was the leader of the team after all, so they naturally did it subconsciously. After retracting into the cave entrance, about 10 breaths later, a faint male voice was heard from a distance. The former Jialong Emperor built a large number of underground fortresses deep underground in Nanzhao. The Emperor's vision is indeed unique. You know, the Feather Clan is extremely dependent on flying and is not good at fighting in the narrow space underground. These fortresses are all at least 100 feet underground. Ordinary Taoist magical powers cannot reach here. Even if they are discovered by the Feather Clan, they can only send cultivators to destroy them. At the time, these interconnected caves, intricate corridors and corners will bring tragic nightmares to the Feather Clan cultivators. Unfortunately, the Jialong Emperor never really took action against the Feather Clan of Nanzhao, and he fell directly into the human world. With the decline and retreat of the Jialong clan, a large number of fortresses deep underground in Nanzhao have completely disappeared from historical records. The sound of conversation gradually became clearer, and it passed under the cave entrance where everyone was hiding, and gradually moved towards the depths. "Yan, I don't know the origin of this underground fortress, nor am I interested. Can you promise to use this place to help us defeat the rebellious Feather Clan?" This time, a female voice sounded. Long Long and Long heard it clearly, and it was clearly the Queen Liu. "How can there be a sure win in military affairs?" The man said calmly and carefully, "But if these underground fortresses can be used well, they should be able to deal a fatal blow to the Feather Clan at a critical moment. I will leave this matter to you. How long will it take to be effective?" The female voice seemed impatient. "Your Majesty, don't be anxious. We must first explore these fortresses clearly, and then send monks to garrison and hide soldiers." The male voice continued to persuade, "Since this fortress was built by the Dragon Emperor, I think there may be a lot of key information about the ancient Dragon Clan. Now the Feather Clan and the Dragon Clan are both our enemies. If we can sort out this information, we may be able to find crucial intelligence from it. The female voice was obviously very dissatisfied with the words should, maybe, and so on in the male voice, and her tone was also irritable and warning. Elvian, don't let me and my father down. The voice gradually faded away until it disappeared completely, and everyone carefully poked their heads out from the top of the cave. If this place was really built by the Dragon Clan Empire in the past, it must not fall into the hands of Kulin. Qin Zhao said anxiously, Long, we must quickly inform this information to the clan. If hearing the previous used this to defeat the Feather Clan only made Qin Zhao frown, then the key information of the ancient Dragon Clan at the end made him completely unable to remain calm. Don't worry, brother. Long will definitely find a way. Although Qin Yi was also nervous, he remained calm and persuaded, even if you want to tell the clan, you have to escape from here first. Everyone looked at Long and saw that he was also frowning. For a moment, it was not easy to watch him to disturb his thinking. Long listened to the words of the Qin brothers and sisters and laughed in his heart. What's so difficult about getting out of here? Don't enter this cave, just turn around and choose a direction to get out. However, Long was also very interested in what Lu Yan said about the key information of the ancient Dragon Clan. The reason why this small account was established was to send Long to Beiming Yuzheng to find a way to solve the blood conflict in her body, so as to take away the fragments of the sky-making stone that sealed her dragon blood. The two current problems are that it is difficult to get out of the Gongzhou Dragon Clan and go to Bizhou. The Kanglong clan still fears the remnants of the Jialong, and coupled with the fragrance of Long's blood and the noble status behind Longu, they will never allow this to happen. Secondly, the location and entry method of Beiming Fanyan are unknown. Even though Long has already connected with Shiro and recognized him as a master and apprentice, the other party has not fully trusted him, and has never provided any information in this regard. What if the key information hidden here contains information about Beiming Fanyan? If you explore and search by yourself, you can still get first-hand information. When the tribe comes to seal this place, you can't expect to see a single word. Qin Zhao was right. He pondered for a long time, and then said calmly, we must tell the tribe about this, but do you think the tribe will believe it? What do you mean? Qin Zhao was a little puzzled when he heard it. With our identities, how could the tribe not believe what we say? Don't forget, all the information we learned came from Alvian's mouth. Long sighed and said, we have never seen the real underground fortress, right? With the cautious character of the ancestor, he must have considered the possibility that Alvian had already noticed our existence and deliberately said the above words to induce us to send back wrong information, lure the Dragon Clan to this underground cave, and then catch them all in one fell swoop. Alvian is the new Demon King ancestor of the White Tiger clan, and is also a famous military god in the entire western state. He has always been known for his wisdom and strategies. After Long's reminder, Qin Zhao also reacted and nodded heavily. In other words, we must at least explore this underground cave. Long said with a persistent expression and a firm tone, if we can find some ancient historical materials, it will not only verify what Alvian said, but also make the clan pay more attention to this matter. Perhaps it was the persistence, confidence, determination and spiritual suggestion in his tone that infected and inspired the Qin brothers and sisters. After a brief discussion, everyone quickly reached a consensus. Follow Lu Yan and Lu Ya and continue exploring this cave. Chapter 722 Taboo Experiment. From the top of the cave to the bottom, it is about several dozen feet high, and there is no place to climb and land. A mortal falling from here will surely die, but the dragons can fly in the clouds, so there is no problem and they can land steadily. After Long into the secret realm, he scanned the distance again to confirm the location of Elvian and Elvia. For the enemy, use scanning. For companions, use hints. Long is confident that this underground exploration is foolproof and there is no possibility of any mistakes or accidents. Impossible. Absolutely impossible. Everyone walked towards the depths of the cave, passing through many long corridors, only to see that the top of the cave in front was getting lower and lower, and the aisles on both sides were getting narrower and narrower. Qin Zhao and Qin Yi walked carefully, fearing that they would be suddenly turned back by Elvia and others at a corner in front and bumped into them. However, Long kept a distance from the two white tigers in front of him at all times through a Jin's scanning range, which was much larger than ordinary spiritual consciousness, so he looked calm. In the eyes of the Qin brothers and sisters, it naturally became a proof that Long was in control of his wisdom and had a plan in mind, and the original nervousness and anxiety also subsided a lot. As for the dragon fox, it was wandering around, not like exploring the cave, but like a puppy patrolling its own territory, and was very curious and excited. Finally, they arrived at the end of the corridor, but it was another huge cave. There were a lot of corridors built along the cave wall, winding and rotating, like a giant snake. In the center of the cave, there was really a giant snake coiled. Its body was as huge as a mountain, and its scales were dark and dull, as if it could swallow the light of the sun and the moon. Just looking at the giant snake, the four people felt a kind of tremor from the depths of their blood rising from their hearts. Snake slough. Long Long suddenly said, "This is not a living thing, it's just the slough of an ancient scale family." Everyone hurriedly scanned it with their spiritual sense and found that it was indeed as Long Long said. The inside of the giant snake was hollow, without any flesh and blood at all. Could this be the earthroot python? Qin Zhao said hesitantly, "I heard that in the era when the Dragon Clan ruled the Eastern Empire realm, there was a tribe of giant pythons living in Thongzhou. Later, they were conquered by the Dragon Clan Emperor and helped him to open up mountains and build civil engineering." After he said that, Long Long remembered it. The status of the earthroot python in the Scale Clan is like that of the golden winged Penny in the Feather Clan. Because of its strong body and infinite power, it can play a unique role in many places. Unfortunately, the Dragon Empire later fell into the human world, and the political situation in the Eastern Empire realm also changed dramatically. Although there is no conclusive evidence, it is generally believed that the earthroot python clan was attacked by its old enemy during that period, and eventually its bloodline was completely cut off. It is said that this ground python has another nickname, called Earth Dragon, which can easily create earthquakes. Qin Yi suddenly thought of something. His eyes lit up. Its scales belong to the earth of the 5 elements, and holding it can make the earth escape method. If we can bring the scales back, won't we be able to gain the trust of the ancestor? Long Long scanned silently for a moment and found that the two people were walking in the corridor of the cave wall above. If they followed to the corridor of the cave wall, it would inevitably increase the chance of being discovered. It would be better to hide in the snake skin below, use the power of a Jinn to block the spiritual sense scanning, and wait for the two people to leave before searching. Okay. He nodded in agreement. In order not to cause fluctuations in magic, the four did not directly fly up in the clouds, but climbed down with their bodies. Long Long held the little fox in his arms and jumped flexibly on the bulge of the rock wall. He was already proficient in the dividing clouds 8 diagrams step. Although he had not used this step at this time, he could still fly over the eaves and walk on the walls with his experience. He cleverly turned and moved, without making any sound, and rushed down the rock wall, leaving Qin Zhao and Qin Yi behind. Long hugged his neck tightly, with his tail wrapped around his waist. He was so thrilled that he wanted to scream, but he was afraid that the enemy would hear him, so he could only cover his mouth with a blushing face. The four people finally landed at the bottom of the cave. From this angle, the snake slough of the ground root python looked even bigger, and just looking at it was terrifying. Huh. Long Yu suddenly said in surprise, "Look, this coiled snake slough, does it look like a building?" Everyone looked carefully after hearing this, and saw that at the tail of the snake slough, there was indeed the outline of a man-made hole leading to the dark inside of the snake slough. Obviously, someone used the empty shell of the ground root python to build it into some kind of building. Long Long scanned it again for a moment, and then led everyone into the snake slough. As soon as they entered, they felt a damp and fishy smell coming towards them. The other three were from the Scale Clan and were not afraid of the fishy smell, but the little fox had a sensitive nose and was almost choked to tears. He had to hold his breath. There were countless corpses hanging from the ceiling, all of which were the remains of various feather tribes, tied tightly with translucent silk threads, hanging upside down with their heads facing down. Everyone recognized the translucent silk threads, which were some kind of sealing magic tools made of dragon saliva, specially used to restrain captives. On the side against the wall, there were various torture instruments, and a large number of jade slips were piled on the table. Long Long picked up a jade slip and looked at it for a while, and then he knew that he had come to the right place. If this place was exposed by the White Tiger Clan, I'm afraid the relationship between the Scale Clan and the Feather Clan would be directly destroyed. The jade slip recorded some very strange experiments. Blood fusion experiments. The experimenter started from the mechanism of the giant cum turning into a rock, and believed that since the Scale Clan could turn into the Feather Clan, it proved that the blood isolation between different demon tribes was not an insurmountable barrier. Therefore, they widely collected blood samples of various feather tribes and conducted exploratory research. So far, 112 feather tribe bloodliness have been studied, and only 3 have the possibility of fusion with Scale tribe bloodliness. The fusion here does not mean the fusion of individuals of two bloodlines intermarrying and giving birth to offspring, but refers to the two bloodlines existing in an individual at the same time, neither devouring each other nor conflicting with each other, so that the individual can exert the magical powers of the two bloodlines at the same time. Thinking of this, Long Long couldn't help but look at the dragon fox. He roughly guessed why Emperor Yin Long conducted such an experiment here. I think he had expected that there would be some irreconcilable blood conflict between his wife and his daughter, that is, the dragon fox. Perhaps the bloodline of fusion secret method mastered by the Jialong tribe in the North Sea Fanyan is the final product of the experimental project here. Thinking of this, Long Long quickly flipped through more jade slips. It is a pity that most of the remaining jade slips are some data and conjectures, without any substantial conclusions, and there are no ready-made practice scriptures. After putting the jade slips into the storage bag, Long Long scanned the sky again. Yan and Liu were still walking in the corridors on the cave wall, and they did not stay in any room for too long. It seemed that they did not find anything valuable. Thinking of this, Long Long made a quick decision. We have found evidence that can convince the tribe. Let's leave now. Chapter 723. Why is Jin jealous? The rest of the people naturally had no objection to Long Long's evacuation order. In other words, following an immortal from the enemy camp would still be stressful after all, especially after the effect of the mental suggestion in the early stage faded. Everyone felt a strong fear in their hearts. After hearing Long Long say that he had finally found the evidence, everyone immediately left impatiently. Although there were no signs in the cave and it was difficult to tell north, south, east and west, with Long Long's omnipotent scanning ability, there was no sign of getting lost. In the eyes of everyone, it naturally became the best proof of his strong memory, so the team became more confident. After leaving the giant cave and re-entering the narrow passage, Long Long suddenly stopped and said, "There are people ahead. They are approaching this way. What should we do?" Long Lu asked hurriedly. Looking at the two siblings Qin Zhao and Qin Yi, they seemed to have given up thinking directly and just waited for Long Long to say something and then did it. Long Long also secretly said that it was a mistake. When scanning, he was busy paying attention to the positions of Luya and Luyan, but forgot to check whether the back road was blocked by someone. At this time, if you aim the scanning direction of the road you came from, you will find that it has been blocked by a large number of Mao tribe monks, and you can't enter or exit freely. Jin, your scanning ability is not good enough. Can't you make it into a 360-degree radar effect, automatically scan my front, back, left, right, up and down, and automatically alarm if there is a suspicious person? The essence of scanning is calculation. Kumlinjing said helplessly, you don't even know what you want to ask, but you ask the calculation to give you feedback. Do you think it's possible? Why is it impossible? Long Long said confidently, my Lily doesn't need to ask questions. Every time he encounters a problem, he will calculate the answer himself, and he can also help me solve it. I can't even sense the existence of the problem. Kumlinjing was silent for a moment, and said, then you should let Lily be your Arjing. Long Long. Wait, Arjing, is she jealous? Arjing, are you jealous? Long Long asked in astonishment. I'm not jealous. Kumlinjing tried to be calm and said, I just remind you not to always praise one and criticize the other. Even I will get angry. Arjing even learned the phrase praise one and criticize the other. Long Long could only say honestly, sorry, Arjing, I joked too much. It's okay. Kumlinjing said calmly, in addition, I scanned it and found that there is a road leading to the deep underground at the bottom of the giant snake remains. Without saying a word, Long Long immediately led everyone to turn around and return to the giant cave. While Luya and Luyan had not yet come out of the corridor on the cave wall, they quickly found the entrance to the bottom of the giant snake remains. This entrance is located in the center of the giant snake remains. From the outside, it looks like a raised hillock, but as long as you scan it, you can find that it is hollow underneath. If you think about it carefully, if this is really an underground military fortress, of course it is impossible to leave only one road leading to the outside world, otherwise the enemy will seal this only entrance, which is like catching a turtle in a jar, and everyone inside can only sit and wait for death. Going down the tunnel, leveling it, and then slowly going up, when everyone returned to the ground, they found that the exit was actually a dead tree hole in the jungle. What should we do now? Qin Yi asked worriedly. Long Long looked around and confirmed that there were no Horn clan monks, then slowly said, since entering the river bottom entrance, I have been calculating the horizontal distance we have moved. At this time, we have walked about 23 miles in the southeast direction. 23 miles, it is not long or short. At least the Horn Clan monks who ambushed the Dragon Clan team at the beginning could not pull the encirclement here. But if everyone exposed their tracks, with the Horn Clan's magical movement skills, it would only take half a quarter of an hour to rush over. Next, we must try our best to rendezvous with the Great Elder. Long said neatly, since neither we nor the Great Elder can confirm each other's location, the best rendezvous place is the camp where we camped overnight before entering the Two Rivers Plain. In other words, we need to leave the Two Rivers Plain as soon as possible, instead of looking for the Great Elder here, otherwise, the probability of running into a monk from the Horn Clan is greater. His analysis was well reasoned, and the Keen brothers and sisters nodded repeatedly, and the Dragon Fox raised his hands and tail in agreement. Long continued, 120 miles west of here is the Kulu River. This river is the largest river in southern Jambu continent, and its narrowest part is more than 200 miles. The Horn Clan will definitely not be able to block it, so it is safest to take the Kulu River. The disadvantage is that the Kulu River is not winding. It is almost a straight line from north to south, running through the entire Two Rivers Plain. If we leave the Two Rivers Plain along the Kulu River, detour to the northeast, and return to where we originally camped, the route and time will be very long. On the other hand, if you go south from here, 47 miles is the Lean River. The Lean River is the seventh tributary of the Kulu River. It meanders eastward, and the closest to where we camp is only more than 100 miles away, so the route is the shortest. But the problem is that the Lean River does not have much water, and there is even a wooden bridge across the shallowest part. As long as there is a checkpoint set up by the Horn Clan monks at any point, we will not be able to pass through without alerting the enemy. Listening to Long's narration of various terrain data, the Keen brothers and sisters were also full of admiration. After a moment's silence, Keen Zhao said, "If you ask me, safety comes first. Even if it takes a little longer, as long as we can leave the Two Rivers Plain safely, the rest of the area is under the control of the Feathered Clan, and as our allies, they won't make things difficult for us. The only problem is that the longer we delay, the later this information will reach the clan." Keen Yi thought about it a little more. Even if it takes 5 or 6 more days, no one can tell what the Horn Clan will do at these fortresses. Precisely because of the uncertainty, it is not worth taking risks. Keen Zhao retorted to his sister, "If this information is really crucial, we can still take a risk for it. But now, who knows how many ancient underground fortresses the Horn Clan controls? And how much intelligence information has been collected? Even if we pass the information back to the clan a few days earlier, with the cautious character of our ancestors and father, it may take several days for the clan to discuss it. How can my brother comment on the elders like this?" Keen Yi frowned dissatisfiedly and said, "Whether the information is valuable or not is a matter for the clan to judge, but it is not for us to make a random judgment. If we choose to take a detour because we want to protect ourselves, but it turns out that we delayed the opportunity to fight, what do you think father will think of us, brother? Even if it makes father unhappy, it is better than dying on the battlefield," Keen Zhao said. Before Long started to analyze, the brother and sister started to quarrel. Chapter 724. Meet old friends again. The Keen siblings could not reach a conclusion in their argument, so they could only look at Long. Long pondered for a moment, but did not speak. Instead, he looked at Longu. The little fox suddenly had an idea and said, "Kunu River is slow and safe, and Lean River is short and dangerous. Why can't we take a compromise? We will neither take the nearest tributary Lean River, nor go all the way south to the end. Instead, we will temporarily walk along Kunu River for a distance. After all, the further south we go from Wujiang City, the less likely we are to encounter the monks of the Horn Clan. Then we will turn east and take other shorter tributaries to save time. How about that?" Long almost wanted to give her a little red flower. "Flexible. What is flexible?" "As expected of my fox, this quick wit is 1/3 of my strength." The Keen siblings immediately realized it. Indeed, taking Kunu River is too slow and unacceptable, and taking Lean River is too dangerous and unsuitable. So why not take a compromise and take an acceptable route? So everyone quickly turned to the west. With Long's scanning ability, they arrived at Kunu River successfully without any danger along the way. Kunu River is the largest river in Namzhou. The surface of the river seems stable, but the river bottom is surging. The 4 people moved forward quickly at the bottom of the river with the water escape technique. They did not encounter any dragon palace, underwater ruins, or mysterious whirlpools on the way. They went south through nearly 800 miles of water, and then turned east to enter the tributary. Since this place is close to the core hinterland of Nanzhou, there are obviously fewer monks of the Horn Clan. Those who were occasionally seen are mostly fighting with the monks of the Feather Clan. Long Long watched their battle carefully and commented that there is not enough strangeness, but more fierceness. In the war between humans and monsters in the late ancient times, the number of monsters was obviously far greater than that of humans, so why were they driven to the East Empire realm in the end? The human race generally believes that the reason is wet eggs are laid, and they've always been less intelligent. Now it seems that this conclusion is really appropriate. The bloodline magic of the demon race is indeed strong, but there is nothing special about it in areas other than bloodline magic. For example, when the Feather Tribe and the Horn Tribe fight, the former often use wind and thunder magic, while the latter usually use earth escape magic. Both sides you fight yours, I fight mine, which is purely a contest of bloodline and realm strength, without any tricks or calculations. If it were a human cultivator, if you hit me with earth escape magic, I would fight back with GMU magic, using the meaning of wood overcomes earth to suppress. But I don't know whether it is because of the limited bloodline or the rigid thinking of the demon race, few people practice magic other than bloodline magic. For example, the Kanglong tribe mostly uses water escape magic and GMU and GMU magic, while fire, earth, and gold are rarely involved. Many dragon cultivators don't even learn these. What should they do when they are restrained by the 5 elements? Just hold on. In this case, it is possible to study and build a set of fighting methods for most Kanglong and Chuan cultivators, and teach the little fox as well. Long Long was thinking about being a traitor, and he led the team to continue moving eastward along the tributary. When they were still more than 200 miles away from the border, they finally encountered a group of Horn Clan monks. 8 people, 5 in the transformation realm, and 3 in the Kavyuan realm. At the bottom of the river, Long Long raised his arm and signaled the people behind him to stop moving forward and restrain their breath. Let's talk about it after they pass. Above the water in front of him was a simple wooden bridge. Since most of the Feather Clan can fly, there are basically no bridges on the rivers in Nanzhao, and most foreign merchants pass by boat. This wooden bridge must have been built by Horn Clan monks, which means that there is probably a Horn Clan stronghold nearby, otherwise there is no need to build a special bridge. Long Long was thinking secretly, and suddenly he saw a Horn Clan monk on the shore turning his head and quickly glancing at the bottom of the river, and then turned back as if nothing had happened. Although he withdrew his gaze very quickly, how could he hide from Long Long's scan? I've been discovered, he quickly warned. As soon as the voice fell, the fluctuation of earth-based magic appeared under his feet. In a hurry, Long Long pushed the fox next to him away, stepped on the ground quickly, and integrated the dividing cloud back a step into it. His figure flashed and disappeared from the spot. He saw that countless earth spikes suddenly appeared at the place where he was standing at the bottom of the river. It looked like a big horn piercing the ground. You know, the resistance in the water is greater than that on the ground, so it is more difficult to burst out the speed. If Long Long had not decisively risked exposure and used the dividing cloud back a step, he might have been pierced by now. Looking at the keen brothers and sisters and the little fox who escaped the disaster, they were all very nervous about the sneak attack at this time, but they had no time to pay attention to the steps used by Long Long. Long Long was also furious. You Horn Clan don't have martial ethics. Then I won't hold back. He pointed his hand, and the long sword broke through the water and killed the Horn Clan monk who attacked. The Horn Clan monk opened his mouth, and a small sword shot out from his mouth, trying to intercept Long Long's flying sword. But how profound is Long Long's swordsmanship? Shushan has practiced swordsmanship for more than 100 years, and not a single minute of that time has been wasted. The dragon raw sword sank lightly, and it just missed the opponent's small sword, and continued to stack the Horn Clan monk. The Horn Clan monks around also reacted, and their expressions changed drastically. They shot out flying swords or activated Taoism. Some of them who were close even rushed straight at him with the art of walking, intending to use their bodies to block the sword for him. It seems that the Horn Clan monk who attacked by surprise seems to have a very unusual status. But no matter how high his status is, can it be as high as mine? Long Long sneered in his heart, and suddenly released the dragon's might, pressing towards the river bank. The Horn Clan monk who was planning to escape, as well as the men who came to rescue and block, were suppressed by the sudden dragon's might. The dragon raw sword took the opportunity to pierce the opponent's abdomen, causing the Horn Clan monk to vomit blood in pain. Before he could scream, he was wrapped in the sword light and pulled back to the river. Long Long had already surfaced from the water, grabbed the Horn Clan monk in his hand, and sealed his abdominal wound, saying coldly, "If you don't want him to die, get out of my way. Let go of your highness." The whole clan monks on the shore shouted anxiously, but no one dared to step forward, obviously worried that Long Long would really kill him. Your Highness? Long Long frowned and looked at the whole clan monk he had restrained. Yuan had 2 sons and 1 daughter, and all the illegitimate sons except Kikiaoseng were killed. The eldest son Kikion had seen it before, which means that this is the second Prince Kikialpha. Among the Mao clan, the White Tiger is the most cruel and treacherous. No wonder even the Earth Escape can be played so insidiously. I thought you were from the Horn clan. Brother. The girl pushed away several monks and rushed to the river anxiously. It was the little Princess Qiangzhu, staring at Long Long angrily. TSK, I was busy identifying the number of people and their strength, but I didn't scan their appearance carefully, but it doesn't matter. See you again, Your Highness. Long Long was not afraid at all, and smiled slightly. Your brother is fine. I didn't activate the sword magic. It's just a flesh wound. Being pierced through the abdomen is a serious injury that must be treated urgently even for a human cultivator, but the hairy people have always been strong, so being stabbed by a sword is not a big deal. Qiangzhu stared at Long Long's face, silent for a moment, and suddenly said, Let them go. But, Your Highness is still, let them go. Qiangzhu turned around and roared. This roar contained the might of the White Tiger clan, so that the Horn clan cultivators retreated one after another, their faces uncertain. Can I trust you, Long Long? Qiangzhu stared at Long Long and asked indifferently. Killing your brother will not benefit me. Long Long replied calmly. If you go back on your word, I will chase you to the ends of the earth. Qiangzhu said coldly. Your Highness, you are joking. Long Long smiled again and said, You and I are now serving different masters. Even if I don't go back on my word, can Your Highness not kill me next time we meet on the battlefield? Qiangzhu remained silent, just sneered and said, That may not be the case. I allow you to go along the water for a quarter of an hour, and then put my brother on the shore, but you are not allowed to take him out of the 2 rivers plain. Before that, we will not chase you. A quarter of an hour is too short. Long Long pondered for a moment and said, At least, it's just a quarter of an hour. Qiangzhu said coldly, If not, let's fight here. See if you can still escape after killing my brother. Chapter 725. Swamp. Long Long and his companions took Kikialpha hostage and rushed eastward along the waterway. Qiangzhu only gave them a quarter of an hour. When the time was up, they would be chased immediately. Naturally, they would have to flee without any scruples. Finally arriving at the border of the 2 rivers plain, Long Long threw Kikialpha to the shore without hesitation, and then continued to sprint eastward. Long Long. Qianzhou asked worriedly, Are you going to let him go like this? There is no point in killing him. Long Long said calmly. No. Qianzhou hesitated for a while before saying, If we can hold him hostage all the way, even if we are caught up by the pursuers later, we can protect ourselves, right? If we choose to break our promise and hold him hostage, then those who didn't have pursuers originally will have pursuers. Long Long smiled slightly. After about 2/4 of an hour, a large number of monks from the Horn clan and the Hare clan finally arrived here and rescued the injured Kikialpha. Seeing that Kikialpha was fine, Queen Elvia also felt relieved. She turned her head to look at the indifferent Qiangzhu. She wanted to slap her daughter, but her hand fell again. Why did Your Highness let them go? Elvian looked at Qiangzhu with an expressionless face and asked seriously. If you don't let them go, where will your brother's life be? Qiangzhu asked him back. If the other party escapes here and still refuses to let them go, your brother's life will also be threatened. Elvian said meaningfully, Why don't you deal with him and drag us here? He won't let them go. Qiangzhu replied. Why? He won't completely tear his face with us. Qiangzhu said indifferently, Killing his brother will do him all kinds of harm and no benefit. He is not the kind of person who acts recklessly and disregards the overall situation. Elvian fell into deep thought after hearing this, but Queen Elvia got angry. Who are you mocking as someone who disregards the overall situation? Qiangzhu turned her head away and did not answer. Your Majesty, calm down. Lu Yan hurriedly tried to smooth things over. Now it seems that it was not a wrong move for your Highness to let Long Long and his group go. At least the second prince's life was saved. You'll lead your men to the east immediately and capture that little thief. Lu Ya said in a commanding manner, then turned and glared at Qiangzhu, saying coldly, Do you still dream of marrying that little thief? My daughter dare not. Qiangzhu lowered her head and closed her eyes. If the Dragon clan loses this time, you may still have a chance. Lu Ya sneered in a sinister tone, but if the Dragon Clan wins, there will be no possibility for you and him. Think it over, my stupid daughter. Lu Yan led his men to leave the Two Rivers plain and headed east quickly. General. The adjutant asked beside him, if the Dragon tribe uses the water escape technique at its full strength, it will not be easy for us to catch up. And will it be adversely affected if we go too deep into Nanzhao? If they just flee eastward along the river, it will be difficult for us to catch up. Lu Yan replied calmly, but if they want to return to Dongzhao, they must leave the waterway and turn north. The shortest distance from Jinjiang to the Sanzhou Mountains in the north is about 1,400 miles. As long as we go east in advance, we can stop them on their way home. What, we want to go into the sea? Qin Zhao asked in disbelief. Yes, we must go into the sea. Long Long replied. He used the fine sand at the bottom of the river to quickly outline the topographic map of the eastern part of Nanzhao. The tributary we are on is called Jinjiang. Jinjiang continues to flow eastward, and there is a large swamp called Wei. Passing through the swamp, passing the Cunning Mountains, it flows into the ocean. If we want to return to Dongzhao, we must leave the waterway and turn northeast before the Jinjiang River merges into the swamp. The journey is at least more than 1,000 miles and the risk is very high. It is better to pass through the swamp and the Cunning Mountains, then into the sea and go around and return to Dongzhao. It is said that the swamp is full of miasma. Ordinary cultivators who enter will lose their way and eventually be poisoned by the miasma. Qin Yi also added, Brother Linglong, if you want to enter the swamp, the biggest enemy is not the pursuers, but the terrain. Don't worry. Linglong didn't know how to scan, so he could only pretend to be wise and said calmly, I have my own secret method to determine the direction in this swamp. Since he said it was a secret method, the crowd couldn't ask more questions. In addition to the prestige he had established along the way, they could only believe what he said. The group continued to move forward along the Jinjiang River, without any rest along the way, and finally gradually arrived at the Dirty Swamp. On the other side, on the road from the Dirty Swamp to the 3-foot mountain range, the patrol team had been deployed, but they did not wait for Long Long and his men to fall into the trap. The situation has changed. Lu Yan suddenly said in a deep voice, they should have entered the Dirty Swamp. The Dirty Swamp? The adjutant asked in astonishment, isn't there miasma everywhere there, and the visibility is only a few feet? Do they know that we are setting an ambush here, so they have to take the risk? Don't worry. Lu Yan said calmly, since the other party has been forced into the Dirty Swamp by us, then the order of His Majesty has been fulfilled, and we will withdraw our troops. Seeing that Lu Yan did not show any surprise at all, the adjutant secretly realized that this new ancestor actually had no intention of capturing Long Long. Otherwise, as long as the troops were divided into 2 groups, letting the subordinates block the way to the 3-foot mountain range, and he rushed to the direction of the Dirty Swamp alone to chase and kill, then Long Long and his men would never be able to escape so smoothly. What exactly does the general mean? Thinking of Qiangzhou before, the adjutant showed a thoughtful expression. The Jinjiang River was originally quite clear, but after merging into the swamp, it soon turned into a strange green color. The closer to the river surface, the darker the green color, and it also carried a fierce miasma. Just getting close made people feel dizzy. Everyone could only flee forward along the bottom of the river, trying to fight the miasma. What kind of toxin is this? Long Long was also troubled by the miasma. Why is it so powerful? It should be the poison of Jiamu. King Ping Sword, who had not spoken for a long time, suddenly said, if you only practice Jiamu and not Yimu, and practice it to the extreme, you can turn life into death and produce this kind of life-filled poison. I see. Long Long naturally understood the principle that the solitary yang cannot live long. Theoretically, the more you practice the way of Jiamu, the more powerful your wood magic will be, but the consumption of true essence will also be more exaggerated. Yimu can reduce the consumption of spells, so most wood-based Taoist spells will not deliberately avoid Yimu. According to Kingping, this miasma seems to be from a certain high-level demon cultivator. Because he lacked Yimu when practicing bloodliner magic, and practiced Jiamu to the extreme, the yin and yang were out of balance, which produced this so-called Jiamu poison. Jin, can you detect the direction? Long Long asked. It can't be scanned for the time being. Kumlinjing replied, but as long as you follow that direction where the miasma is most intense, can't you find the source? As expected of a Jin, you are really smart. Long Long praised. Humph, flattery is ineffective on me. Kumlinjing said proudly, you should think about how to convince them to follow you to explore the source of the poison. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like, Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.